What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 5 Light Years. Chapter 101. If I believe you again, my surname will not be Chu. In the Netherworld Tower, the time for scene switching will not be included in the score. In other words, the clearance time will only start to be calculated after the monster is born. And Chu Han killed every wave of monsters instantly. It only took him 100 seconds to finish the 100 layers of monsters. Moreover, the same fire skill is used every time. This is a 9th level skill. It's impossible. I heard Neely say that he hasn't even reached the 5th level. Even if he works hard these days, he has just completed the 5th level at most. How can he learn the 9th level skill? But every level of him is an instant monster. How do you explain? Perhaps, this is the strength of a genius. His control over magic elements can use 5th level skills to produce the effects of 9th level skills. It's too scary. In a few years, won't he be able to master the forbidden spell? Everyone in the meeting hall looked horrified, looking at the incredible scene on the big screen. If it is said that Ni Li's performance just now impressed everyone. So, what Chu Han brought to them was a double shock both visually and spiritually. Being both members of the mage profession, even Shen Xingchen had never let them experience this kind of contrasting shock. After all, Shen Xingchen was a man with 9 turns to reach the heavens and had a single battle with 3 evil gods of the past. People would think it was normal no matter how unnatural his performance was. But Chu Han was different. He was a young man who had just changed jobs and was even 1 year younger than Ni Li. It was really difficult to understand and accept that he showed such strength at this time. For such people, rather than calling them geniuses, they prefer to call them monsters. It really is as expected by the old man. Yao Shengyu smiled with satisfaction, then stood up and slowly approached the big screen hanging on the wall. Seeing the dark soul-eating beast appear again and confront Chu Han, the smile on his face became even wider. Come on, Chu Han, I've already set the stage for you. Next, show your strength to the fullest and shut up those people who question your strength. Roll their eyes. With this thought in his heart, Yao Shengyu couldn't help but feel excited. He suddenly turned around, faced everyone in the meeting hall, and said loudly, "Everyone, maybe you don't know much about this child Chu Han. I know that many people have doubts in their hearts and don't understand why Shen Xingchen and I value him so much. But today, I believe you will be amazed and impressed by his talent just like me. In time, Chu Han will definitely become a beacon-level figure in our spiritual cultivation church and even the entire Dragon Kingdom." After hearing what the president said, the expressions of everyone below were shocked. They were stunned and their expressions changed dramatically, as if they had been struck by thunder. Yao Shengyu was a little strange and didn't understand why they had such a big reaction. Could it be that his speech was too inspiring? It's not that exaggerated. At this time, Ni Chen's face was also covered with a look of horror. He moved his lips and said, "Wei, President." Elder Ni doesn't need to say more. Yao Shengyu knew that Ni Chen had opinions about Chu Han, so he interrupted his speech. Then, he stretched out 3 fingers, with a smile on the corner of his mouth. 30 seconds. It only takes 30 seconds for Chu Han to kill the dark soul-eating beast. Anyway, with the skill, Gravity Black Hole, he gave him, he was confident that it would be much easier for Chu Han to defeat the dark soul-eating beast, at least easier than Ni Li. If it exceeds this time, even if you disqualify him from playing, I won't say anything, Yao Shengyu continued. But if, like I said, Chu Han kills the boss within 30 seconds, then I will give him a higher position in the guild. President. At this time, the 3rd generation elder Lu Hongwei couldn't help but stand up from the stunned crowd. He pointed at the big screen behind Yao Shengyu and said with difficulty, "President, look back, Chu Han. He has passed the test and completed the assessment. He killed the dark soul-eating beast, and it only took 1 second. Yao Shengyu." Turning back suddenly, Yao Shengyu looked at the big screen. I saw that there was no one in the picture, only the remaining golden glare was still shining brightly, accompanied by the faint sound of the bell. This is the light element. Yao Shengyu was stunned, then looked at the statistics panel. There were a few lines written on it. Chu Han. The time taken to clear the 100th floor. 1 minutes and 41 seconds, close black lens bracket. This challenge breaks the 100th floor customs clearance record. First place, Chu Han, 1 minute 41 seconds. Second place, Shen Xingchen, 6 minutes and 11 seconds. The 3rd place, Ni Chen, 7 minutes and 19 seconds. There are a total of 100 floors of mobs, plus the boss level that is not counted in the number of floors. Chu Han can be said to pass a level in a second. In this way, he completed the Nether Tower assessment incomparably against the sky. And completely smashed Shen Xingchen's customs clearance record, directly capping the score. His record, even if someone comes later, can only be on par with him, and cannot be surpassed. Yao Shengyu blinked his eyes, stunned and speechless. What's the situation? This kid, when I was bragging for him, I gave the boss a second. In the end what happened? The skill I gave him, Gravity Black Hole, is so powerful? I do not know how. After living for 92 years, it was the first time that Yao Shengyu experienced such a creepy feeling, but at the same time, it was also accompanied by endless surprises. In Chu Han's body, how many secrets are waiting for him to discover? The chosen son of the Dragon Kingdom, his potential is 100 times stronger than I imagined. Xingchen, we really did not misunderstand the person. It seems that it won't be long before the old man can announce the decision to let Chu Han take over as your elder. On the other side, after Chu Han finished beating the Dark Soul Devourer, he wanted to continue the challenge. After reading Shen Xingchen's customs clearance record before, he secretly wanted to try to surpass. But after thinking about it, I came this time only to complete the assessment, so there is no need to make a fuss about it. Most importantly, this nether tower does not have any experience or loot. So, he exited the secret realm. In the hut, Ni Li and Juniper sat there with dull eyes. When they saw Chu Han coming out, they stood up stiffly, stepped back subconsciously, and their eyes became terrified. What's wrong with you? Chu Han was a little surprised. The mouths of the two moved slightly. After a long time, Juniper mustered up the courage and said, Chu Han, what kind of monster are you? You actually broke Elder Shen's record and cleared 100 floors in less than 2 minutes. Ni Li nodded frantically and said with a trembling voice, also, is the light skill that you instantly kill the boss at level 8 or level 9? Didn't you just turn 5? It's nothing. Chu Han waved his hand casually, it's just an ordinary skill. Wait. In the middle of speaking, he suddenly felt something was wrong. Why can you see the skills I use? Ni Li and Juniper looked at each other and shrugged at the same time, because we have eyes. Turn on the guild channel to see, the video of you clearing the level has gone viral. Chu Han hurriedly opened the guild chat channel as he said. Sure enough, what is being discussed in it now is all about his glorious feat of clearing the 100th floor of the Nether Tower in 1 minute and 41 seconds. He instantly understood that he had been fooled by Yao Shengyu. This old thing. In the future, I will believe half a word from your mouth, and my surname will not be Chu. Chapter 102 Turn Mission, The Border of the Underworld. After Chu Han's perfect performance was over, the expedition assessment was also over. Although the meeting hall of the Spiritual Practice Church was full of people, it was completely silent at this moment. Ni Chen had an expression of being on pins and needles. He had already arranged for the cadres of his own faction to take Chu Han's performance as a breach and snatch his #1 seed qualification if his performance was slightly insufficient. But Chu Han's performance made all of them feel stuck in their throats, and they couldn't find any faults at all. Those cadres all looked at Ni Chen's back, some were anxious and some were puzzled, and the expressions on their faces were extremely exciting. Yao Shengyu saw everything in his eyes and didn't point it out. He sneezed for no reason, then sat down slowly. Everyone, you have seen the performance of the 3 children. If anyone is dissatisfied with the performance of the 3 of them, they can propose that the Council of Elders will decide whether to deprive them of their qualifications based on their actual performance. After finishing speaking, he looked around and saw that no one spoke, so he continued. If you don't have any objections, then so be it. Tomorrow morning, Chu Han, Ni Li and Juniper will represent my spiritual cultivation church in the Zhenwu Grand Ceremony. It's all gone. Following Yao Shengyu's order, most of the cadres got up and left. They also understand that the so-called expedition assessment is nothing more than a formality. In every Zhenwu Grand Ceremony, there is almost no change of personnel, and this time will be no exception. When everyone was about to leave, Ni Chen sighed deeply, got up from his seat, and walked out with heavy steps. His fans followed suit, and the chamber was soon empty. Yao Shengyu stayed on the spot alone, closing his eyes and resting his mind. Not long after, a beep sound came, and a video communication request popped up in the system. After connecting, an old face rippling with spring appeared on the big screen. It was Shen Xingchen. How about it, teacher, didn't that kid disappoint you? Seeing his playful smile, Yao Shengyu couldn't help rolling his eyes. That's the person I personally picked, how could it be disappointing? Hey. Shen Xingchen grinned, that's good, that's good. In this way, I can retire with peace of mind as a student, and then go travel around the world, ha ha ha. Hearing this, Yao Shengyu's shriveled face moved slightly. Xingchen, do you really want to retire? Although the two had talked about this topic in private many times before, Yao Shengyu was still reluctant to give up at this moment. Shen Xingchen saw what the teacher was thinking, and still said with a smile, anyway, I'm lazy, and staying in the guild is useless. It's better to abdicate as soon as possible. Yao Shengyu nodded, well, your evaluation of yourself is pertinent. Ha ha ha. Shen Xingchen laughed heartily, you should train Chu Han well. I also watched the video of him clearing the Nether Tower. This kid has a lot of potential and surprises that you and I haven't discovered yet. Okay, stop talking to me. Yao Shengyu said softly, these are all excuses. In the end, you are just fascinated by women. Being exposed, Shen Xingchen blushed, it's normal for a man to love a woman. I'm a student and I'm in my twilight years. If you want to have a vigorous love affair, you should bless me. Dating? HMPH, Yao Shengyu dismissively said, is that thing so interesting? Yes. Shen Xingquan's eyes were sly, however, a peerless old virgin like you may not be able to understand. Get out! Yao Shengyu was furious, and slapped the console to cut off the communication. He was so angry that he strode out of the conference hall, every foot made the ground tremble slightly. After receiving the notice, the three people in front of the nether tower also felt relieved and left separately. Chu Han silently recited the disciple rules several times in his heart, and then he dispelled the urge to look for Yao Shengyu with a knife. After all, it is the master who cheated me, so bear with it. After calming down, Chu Han went straight to the job transfer temple. The third side hall deep in the corridor is where the 6th turn mission is released. Chu Han went in and submitted the 6th level certificate, the magic scripture according to the previous process. The job transfer certificate was submitted successfully, and the 6th transfer task has been released. Published successfully, the mission map is River of Oath-Keeping, close black lens bracket. After finding the target location, Chu Han directly summoned Xiao He, mounted the Pegasus and headed straight for the secret realm. The flying speed of the level 114 Xiao He has also increased a lot. It sprinted with all its strength and turned into a black meteor, causing a burst of exclamations on the ground. A few minutes later, Chu Han passed through most of the deep sea city and arrived at his destination, the secret realm, Oath-Keeping River. Falling to the ground, Chu Han looked around. This place is surrounded by a leveling area around level 500. Although it was noon, Chu Han always felt that there was a scary atmosphere here. Chu Han trembled all over, threw away all the terrifying thoughts in his mind, and reached out to touch the black vortex in front of him. Open black lens bracket ding. The system prompts that the River of Oath-Keeping is a designated map for the 6th turn mission and can only be entered by a single person. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Do you want to enter? Close black lens bracket. Yes. Your 6th turn mission instructions are being generated, please wait. Open black lens bracket completed. Close black lens bracket. Task name. Border of the Underworld. Task requirement. Please kill the secret realm boss within the specified time. Close black lens bracket. Task time. 30 minutes. If it exceeds the time limit, it will be considered a failure. The timer will start after entering the secret realm. Close black lens bracket. Chu Han didn't believe his eyes and couldn't help but look at it several times. Think about yourself, being whipped mercilessly by the tentacle monster at the 4th turn, and singing in embarrassment at the 5th turn. Although it was a 6th turn mission map, Chu Han didn't feel the intensity at all. Compared to those, this 6th turn mission is too normal. He looked up and saw in front of him a long black river 100 meters wide. Both sides of the river bank are like the intersection of yin and yang, with half bathed in sunlight and the other half submerged in darkness. At the same time, monsters lurking in various places launched attacks at the same time, breaking the calm instantly. As soon as he made a move, a crocodile-like monster emerged from the dark river water, opening its fangs and huge mouth and pounced on Chu Han. The river bank returned to silence, and Chu Han continued walking. Wherever the sky flame passes, everything will be destroyed. Gah! Chu Han reacted quickly, spread his wind spirit wings and dodged to the side, and then, a fire forbidden spell exploded out of thin air. Feeling sorry for his difficulty, Chu Han wiped away his old tears and entered the secret realm. Boom! It was a monster with the body of a bird and the head of a human. It vibrated its wings and floated in the air, exuding a fierce and vicious aura from its whole body. It seemed to come from hell. When it saw an uninvited guest breaking in, the monster's eyes were fixed on Chu Han. What is normal is a little abnormal. Relying on the Purgatory natural disaster, he crushed all the way, and soon reached the end and saw the boss guarding here. Chu Han was currently on the side where the light was shining. He took steps and walked forward along the river bank. The endless gloomy aura came in, making Chu Han feel a little short of breath. Chapter 103 The Devil in the Darkness, the Three-Headed Dog of Hell. Name: Harpy, Dominator level boss. Attribute: Monster. Open black lens bracket level. LV.230 close black lens bracket. Health volume: 5770W, 5770W. Open black lens bracket physique: 20,896 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket power: 31,542 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket wisdom: 17,389 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket agility: 32,568 close black lens bracket. Spirit: 23,548. Combat power value: 201,357. Skills: Soul-piercing singing throat, storm feather blade, yin-yang barrier, Styx dark thunder. The harpy's feathers are half black and half white, which looks like a picture of a gossip god at first glance. Hey! The boss let out a roar, and swooped down with its wings outstretched. Its face was distorted and shaped like a demon, and dozens of sharp feather blades were shot out with a shake of its arms. The level and attributes of this boss are average. Chu Han didn't pay much attention to it, and when he saw it rushing, he was ready to deal with it directly. And at this time, Xiao He beside him seemed eager to express himself, and sprayed out a black dragon wave, blasting away the flying feather blades. Chu Han raised his eyebrows and looked at Xiao He with interest. It was the first time this guy took the initiative to make a move. Although in terms of level, there is a big gap between Xiao He and Harpy. But Xiao He is a divine beast, and the opponent is only a boss at the master level. The gap between them should be able to smooth out the disadvantage in level. Chu Han glanced at the mission time. There were more than 21 minutes left. Enough. Okay, I'll let you have fun today. It was rare to see Xiao He take the initiative once, but Chu Han didn't intervene, and stood aside to watch the battle leisurely. Xiao He soared into the air, hissing and vibrating his wings. A few balls of black magic flames shot down from the wings, and blasted straight towards the boss. This is its skill, Black Wing Demon Fall, which is very powerful. And the Harpy was not afraid at all. It also danced its wings wildly, avoiding Xiao He's attack, and at the same time set off a gust of wind, causing an extremely terrifying thunder and lightning storm. As the messenger of hell guarding the entrance of the underworld, the Banshee has extremely vicious skills when she makes a move. A look of horror flashed in Xiao He's eyes. He dodged left and right in embarrassment, and fell from midair to the ground. However, in the first fight, although Xiao He was quite embarrassed, he didn't lose much blood. Chu Han wasn't worried either. Instead he said with a smile, "Can you do it, little dog? If you can't, then step back, and I'll take care of it." Stimulated by the words, Xiao He immediately stood up, shaking his horse's head and neighing to the sky. It was so angry that it roared like a wolf or a tiger. At the same time, in the dark sky, a round of blood moon broke through the clouds and mist and appeared, as if summoned by Xiao He. The color was like blood. Amidst Xiao He's long whistle, a terrifying coercion descended from the sky, as if a huge evil spirit descended. Even Chu Han couldn't help feeling palpitations, and his expression became solemn. Dark Horse Xiao Yue, this scene is really weird. Open black lens bracket ding. Your pet demon flame Thunderwing horse, Xiao He, has learned a new skill. Blood Moon Killing Sacrifice. Close black lens bracket. Chu Han was dumbfounded by the system prompt. What the hell, I just sneered a few words. Xiao He actually comprehended a new skill. It seems that my own sarcasm has a very stimulating effect on it. We have to step up our efforts in the future. Just as Chu Han was pleasantly surprised, the harpies also started to move. As the guardian of the border of hell, it was annoyed that it was suppressed by other dark forces. Call out, the harpy spread its wings, flashed a silver fork in its hand, and went straight to Xiao He. Standing on the ground, Xiao He raised and lowered his horse's hooves lightly. When the Banshee approached, Xiao He's body surface suddenly emanated a blood-colored demonic energy, and the mysterious power exploded, sending out a scarlet ripple. Attracting the power of the Blood Moon to himself, Xiao He at this time is like an ancient monster from Juyu. Every look and movement of it will bring endless coercion to the opponent. The harpy's figure suddenly froze, hanging in the air, not daring to take another half step. Fear rose from the bottom of her heart. The Banshee wanted to escape, but her body was locked by the energy emitted by Xiao He, and she didn't listen to her commands at all. Xiao He roared again, and then sprayed out waves of black dragon demon flames from his mouth. The red and black energy waves hit, and as soon as they met, they melted the harpy and turned it into powder. Seeing this scene, Chu Han's pupils jumped. A few minutes ago, Xiao He's black dragon demon flame wave could barely offset the feather blade shot by the Banshee. But with the Blood Moon Killing Sacrifice, I can actually kill it instantly. From this point of view, this should be an extremely powerful buff skill. This Xiao He's growth rate is probably not much faster than mine. Not bad, Xiao He. Chu Han walked over with a smile and stroked the horse's head. The scarlet color on Xiao He's body dissipated and gradually returned to its original state, and the violent and bloody aura also disappeared in an instant. It glanced at Chu Han proudly and raised its head proudly. Seeing Xiao He pointing his nostrils at him, Chu Han laughed dumbly. This kid is still pretending. Okay, you performed well today, I allow you to show off for a while. Chu Han raised his eyebrows and smiled. Next time you show off to me, my legs will be broken. After saying that, he possessed himself and picked up the loot dropped by the boss. There are a total of 6,000 gold coins and some ordinary mission materials. The rest, except for 3 pieces of gold equipment with more than 200 levels, a purple light is very conspicuous. Artifact. Chu Han felt happy and quickly picked it up. Magic feather gloves. Artifact. Occupation type. Fighter. Level. 240. Durability. 49,000. Physique plus 3,400. Open black lens bracket strength plus 5,000 close black lens bracket. Physical damage plus 25%. Equipment effect. The release speed of all physical skills is increased by 100%. Equipment effect. The attack range of all physical skills is increased by 100%. Introduction. Speed is justice, and the range covers the truth. Close black lens bracket. After reading the attributes, Chu Han couldn't help clicking his tongue. These attributes and entries are simply unbelievable. A melee professional would probably drool after seeing it. It's a pity, I can't use it myself, so go back and sell it. Putting away all the trophies, Chu Han stood up. Just as he was about to check the task panel, a system prompt sounded. Open black lens bracket ding. The second secret realm, River of Anguish, is triggered. Please enter with caution, close black lens bracket. Huh? Chu Han's eyes lit up. Triggered the second secret realm? There is such a good thing? Scarlet vortex slowly gathered and appeared in front of Chu Han. Without hesitation, he walked over directly. Do you want to enter the second layer of mystery, the River of Distress? Close black lens bracket? Yes. Chu Han did not dare to be careless about the intensity of the second level secret realm. He first took Xiao He back to the pet space, and then used his wind spirit wings before entering. Darkness surged in, and after a quick transition, Chu Han came to a new secret map. F*K. As soon as he regained his sight, Chu Han was shocked by the scene in front of him. I saw that I was in a cave, with gusts of wind and blood. In front of him, an extremely ferocious monster was looking at him eagerly. The monster was huge, its limbs were like giant pillars, and its body was burning with hellfire. In addition, the most terrifying thing is that there are 3 heads sticking out from its thick neck. Roar! The monster roared from its throat, and disgusting green liquid dripped from the gaps between its sharp fangs. Chu Han's complexion changed slightly, and he swallowed hard. What the hell? Hell 3-headed dog. Chapter 104 Six-tailed silver fox, the leader of the White Fox clan who yearns for humans. The 3-headed hellhound is majestic, its body is like a gray mountain, and the suffocating pressure rushes towards it. Chu Han looked at the huge monster in front of him. Its hair was like thorns and wrapped in black flames. At a glance, it was a monster from the depths of hell. Boom! Boom! 3 terrifying dog heads with dense fangs and piercing eyes opened their huge mouths at the same time, and 3 jets of black flame shot out. The black flame was so powerful, Chu Han hurriedly dodged it when he saw it. Swish! When he stepped to the side, he saw a flash of white light, which split the black flames and blasted them onto the wet rock wall. There are other monsters. Chu Han immediately reacted and turned to look. On the opposite side of the hell 3-headed dog, a woman in fluttering white clothes was holding a long sword with a solemn expression. The white sword energy just now was split by her. Chu Han was a little confused. Could it be that the target of the hell 3-headed dog's attack just now was not himself at all, but this mysterious woman? With this thought in his mind, Chu Han looked at the figure not far away. The woman in white was slim and graceful, like a fairy. Her orchid-like temperament in the empty valley is like a Tiantian snow lotus blooming in the dark. Chu Han looked more and more strange. Taking advantage of the 3-headed dog roaring and attacking the woman again, he quietly hid in a corner and observed secretly. The current situation made him a little overwhelmed. Maybe it's because this woman entered the second layer of Secret Realm first, and she was only a latecomer? After much deliberation, Chu Han only thought of this possibility. The probability of this happening is low, but not zero. But what's the matter with this woman dressed in ancient costume? Like to play cosplay? Chu Han frowned, checking the woman's information. Open black lens bracket name. 6-tailed silver fox close black lens bracket, attribute, old evil god. Open black lens bracket level. LV.320 close black lens bracket, health volume. 138.15 million, 170 million. Open black lens bracket physique. 46,157 close black lens bracket open black lens bracket power. 57,222 close black lens bracket open black lens bracket wisdom. 49,214 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket agility. 51,554 close black lens bracket, spirit. 52,471. Combat power value. 271,973. Skills. Shocking demon chi, slashing god claw, awakening fox vein, mirror flower and water moon, charm all beings. Introduction. The old evil god of sequence 397, the patriarch of the White Fox clan, has been looking for the way of reincarnation because of his yearning for human beings, and wants to lead the whole clan to reincarnate into humans. Close black lens bracket. After reading the message, Chu Han finally understood. No wonder looking at this person is a bit strange, so she is not human. Immediately, he looked at the 2 sides fighting fiercely on the battlefield. Now an old evil god is fighting against the boss of the second-level secret realm. What should I do? Killed both? After all, the serial number of the 6-tailed silver fox is only ranked 397, which can be said to be a very bottom existence, and Chu Han didn't take it seriously. And the hell 3-headed dog fought her back and forth. Regardless of the outcome, the strength should be equal. Dealing with these 2 goods is not a big problem. Boom. At this time, the 3-headed dog and the 6-tailed fox bombarded the waves, and the huge impact caused them to retreat one after another. The 3-headed hellhound howled unwillingly, spitting out corrosive mucus from its bloody mouth. Suddenly, one of the dog heads found Chu Han standing in the corner. After a short period of doubt, it turned around and attacked without any explanation. As the messenger of hell, it has a murderous aura. It seems that it regards Chu Han as the companion of the 6-tailed silver fox, and is going to crush this tiny existence with one blow. Boom. The pitch-black magic flame sprayed out again, piercing through the space and raging. Chu Han laughed and was about to make a move, but was interrupted by a white figure. Careful. The six-tailed silver fox has a charming figure and floats towards Chu Han with a white long sword in his hand. This scene made Chu Han even more puzzled. Judging by her behavior and actions, it seems, is she protecting herself? At this time, Chu Han suddenly remembered the introduction of the six-tailed silver fox. Could it be because their white fox clan longs for humans, so they will protect themselves at this time? Well, that must be it. The terrifying black magic flame brought forth vast energy, and it was extremely powerful. The six-tailed silver fox repeated the old trick, and once again slashed out a sword aura, but this time, due to the suddenness of the incident, she acted hastily. The sword energy only split 2 pillars of fire, and the third blasted solidly on her body. Boom! The silver fox flew upside down and hit the rock wall hard, making a sound of bones breaking. Human. Let's go. Seeing the six-tailed silver fox looking so angry, Chu Han still felt weird when he reminded himself to run away. Just now, I wanted to kill her together, but in a blink of an eye, she was injured in order to save myself. Although she saved a little too much, but Chu Han is not too embarrassed to kill her at this time. Firstly, it's not very polite, and secondly, this girl looks really good. What's wrong with this? Chu Han hesitated for a moment. Forget it, let's kill the three-headed dog first. After making up his mind, Chu Han leapt into the air, followed by the ice-type curse, dictatorship domain. Boom! The ice world unfolded, and everything in the space turned into ice crystals. Chu Han stood on top of the hell three-headed dog and raised his hand slightly. Reincarnation whispers. A stream of black air slowly overflowed, and then floated towards the dog's head in the middle. Crack. Bang. In less than 5 seconds, the three-headed hellhound broke free from control and shook all the ice blocks away. Chu Han was slightly startled, hurriedly stopped singing, and stepped back. Roar! The three-headed dog let out a long howl, and its size suddenly swelled. In the blink of an eye, it became 3 or 4 times its original size. At the same time, some bulges began to appear on its neck, and then each of the bulges turned into new dog heads, barking at Chu Han. This shit. Seeing more than 50 dog heads crowded together on the same neck, Chu Han's trisophobia was directly committed. The body of the transformed three-headed hellhound almost filled the entire space, and the coercion it brought to people was not the same as before. The six-tailed silver fox broke free from the control, and when she saw the gigantic monster in front of her, her face, which was as indifferent as a fairy, also showed deep fear. How so? Is this its true power? It is worthy of being the guardian of the gate of hell, so powerful. What to do? We are dead. The plain hand holding the sword trembled slightly, and the six-tailed silver fox was in despair. Chu Han glanced at her, then approached the three-headed dog again. Human, what are you doing? The six-tailed silver fox was astonished. Chu Han ignored her and approached her step by step. If you dare to make yourself so big, you're really afraid that you won't die fast enough? This is a cave, and the space is not rich. The three-headed hellhound has made itself so big that although its strength has become stronger, its mobility has been greatly impaired. Use reincarnation whisper on this place, it's impossible to run away. Roar. Roar. The hell three-headed dog showing its ultimate form is full of demonic aura. Seeing that the human beings in front of it are not afraid, it is very angry. The huge body moved against the roof of the cave, and countless gravels fell one after another. Dozens of dog heads roar wildly, as if they want to drag all creatures in the world into hell, and then tear them into pieces. Hey, come on. Boom. The dictatorship domain and the whisper of reincarnation were released at the same time, and Chu Han froze himself. A wisp of black air slowly floated towards the angry three-headed dog. Chapter 105 Hidden Mission, the long-cherished wish of the White Fox Patriarch. Boom. Boom. The Cerberus in its ultimate form is unrivaled in its physical strength. It slammed open the rock wall blocking itself, rushed in front of Chu Han, and stomped on it with both claws. And Chu Han hid inside the ice crystal, with a grim smile on the corner of his mouth. 10. 9. The 20-second countdown soon passed halfway, and the black mist was already approaching the dog's head. However, the hell three-headed dog that fell into madness didn't notice the danger at all. Now, it just wants to tear the human beings in front of it. Not only to tear his body, but also to tear his soul. This is the price for his blasphemy. However, under its crazily trampling, the ice crystals that blocked Chu Han only showed cracks and never shattered. 3, 2, 1, die. -9,999,999,999,999,999. The countdown ended, and the red damage value floated up from the top of the three-headed dog. What? This is. What's going on? The six-tailed silver fox turned pale, and looked at Chu Han in the ice crystal in disbelief. She never imagined that this young human who appeared suddenly would have such power. As this. The horror of human beings? After being shocked, she became even more determined to let her compatriots in the clan reincarnate into human beings. Roar. On the other side, The three-headed hellhound instantly became quiet, and the heads of the 50 dogs drooped weakly, losing their vitality. The huge body slowly fell to the ground. At the same time, dense black and green lines began to appear on its surface. "No, it's going to explode," the six-tailed silver fox shouted. "Be careful, human beings." As soon as the words fell, those lines began to emit a faint light, and then became extremely dazzling. The next moment, its huge body burst like a balloon inflated to the extreme. Boom! The disgusting green liquid spurted out, rushing towards the ice crystals that sealed Chu Han. The six-tailed silver fox turned into a silver fox with a serious expression. It stood in front of Chu Han, waved its claws, and slapped away the green liquid. However, the liquid spray lasted for 5 or 6 seconds. Although it was in a strong figure, there was still indispensable green liquid splashed on its body. Nourishing. The green liquid is highly corrosive, and when it touches its hair, it will burn the fur, and continue to penetrate inward, invading the flesh and blood. The silver fox groaned in pain, then turned back into a human form, and fell to the ground trembling. At this time, Chu Han's freezing effect had also ended. He stepped out of the ice crystal and looked at Silver Fox with a complicated expression. "Are you okay?" Hearing Chu Han's voice, the six-tailed silver fox gritted its teeth and struggled to stand up in pain. This is the skill of the three-headed dog before death, the curse of the sticks. The cursed person will continue to lose blood until the blood tank is emptied. It will probably not take long before I will die. Seeing her say that, Chu Han scratched his head. The opponent is just a monster. Even if he dies, he won't feel any sadness. However, the other party died because he wanted to save him, which made Chu Han feel indescribable. He wanted to tell Yinhu that he didn't need her to save him at all. What kind of bullshit curse? You only need to cast Bai Hai Chao Sheng to get rid of the debuff. It will have no effect at all. However, since the matter has been like this, it is meaningless to say these things. The six-tailed silver fox's expression was filled with pain. She met Chu Han with her eyes, and said quietly, "You don't need to feel guilty, because I did it voluntarily. Our white fox family has been seeking the way of reincarnation for generations, and our greatest wish is to become a human being. We respect human beings, so I will save you today." Chu Han shrugged. "Anyway, thank you. No need." Six-tailed silver fox frowned tightly, trembling uncontrollably. "If possible, for the sake of saving you, can you do me a favor?" Chu Han thought. Did this trigger the plot? "What's the matter, tell me." The six-tailed silver fox stretched out its plain hand, and handed the white long sword in his hand to Chu Han. "Send my sword back to the White Fox clan, tell my clansmen, let them re-elect the patriarch and continue to seek the way of reincarnation. Open black lens bracket ding. The hidden mission, the long-cherished wish of the patriarch of the White Fox, is triggered. Please choose to accept or give up, close black lens bracket." "Okay, I promise you." Chu Han took the white long sword and said to Yinhu, "You have accepted the hidden mission. The long-cherished wish of the patriarch of the White Fox, please complete it as soon as possible, close black lens bracket. You get the equipment from the six-tailed silver fox, the pure white sword, close black lens bracket." Looking at the white long sword in his hand, Chu Han checked the information. Pure white sword, holy artifact, occupation type, swordsman, knight. Open black lens bracket level, LV.320 close black lens bracket open black lens bracket durability, 60,000 60,000 close black lens bracket, physique plus 6600. Open black lens bracket strength plus 10,000 close black lens bracket open black lens bracket wisdom plus 5400 close black lens bracket, agility plus 6600. Equipment effect. All your attacks ignore enemy resistance. Equipment effect. Final damage increased by plus 35%. Equipment effect. The damage caused to the enemy within 30 seconds will be converted into a shield of the same amount as yourself. Introduction. Fox ancestor bless me, and my body will become a saint, close black lens bracket. After reading it, Chu Han couldn't help but feel moved. Damn, a level 320 holy weapon is really abnormal. This six-tailed silver fox is generous enough and doesn't feel bad at all. But then I thought about it, she was going to die soon, and there was really no need to worry about the equipment. It's a pity that she can't team up with a monster, otherwise, the Blue Sea Tide should be able to save her. Okay, I've accepted the mission. Where should I find your people? Putting aside other thoughts, Chu Han asked, wanting to get some clues about the mission. You must at least know where to look for the White Fox clan. How long will it take you to find them just by searching randomly on your own? However, after Chu Han asked, the six-tailed silver fox turned a deaf ear and seemed not to have heard the words at all. She curled up in pain, her delicate body trembling. Many, thank you. Human, in order to thank you, I give you a gift. I have found the key to the triple secret realm. If you want to go, just go. The body of the six-tailed silver fox was constantly showing damage, which was the blood loss effect of the curse of the sticks. After saying this, her blood tank was emptied and she fell to the ground dead. Immediately afterwards, the silver fox corpse disappeared and was replaced by a blood-red vortex. Chu Han looked sad. To be honest, he felt a little sad that such a peerless beauty died in front of him. It's a pity that the other party is just a fox, and he has no interest in the beast mother. Oh, I have to find it myself. Chu Han was a little disappointed that he didn't find out the whereabouts of the White Fox clan. He collected the trophies dropped by the three-headed hellhound, and then looked at the red vortex. The third secret realm. Chu Han was looking forward to it. Unexpectedly, this career change journey would bring such a big surprise. Oh, by the way, job change. When he thought of this, Chu Han opened the panel and looked at the job transfer mission. Task name. Border of the Underworld. Task requirement. Please kill the secret realm boss within the specified time. Close black lens bracket. Task time. 8 minutes and 23 seconds. If the time limit is exceeded, it will be considered a failure. Close black lens bracket. I rely on it. Chu Han's eyes almost popped out. Fortunately, I took a look and found that the job transfer task has not been completed after a long time. The task description only requires you to kill the secret realm boss within the specified time, but it does not specify how many levels of boss you have killed. According to this meaning, as long as you continue to enter the next level of secret realm, the mission will continue. The mission will be considered successful only when you kill the boss of the current level and then exit the secret realm. Damn it, you're just playing word games here, Chu Han cursed in his heart. He wanted to quit directly and complete the sixth mission first. You must know that there is only one chance for the current job transfer task. If you fail, you will not be able to receive it again. At that time, the only way to change jobs is through special means. However, special means are not so easy to obtain. After saying that, Chu Han no longer hesitated and rushed to the entrance of the secret realm resolutely. Damn, I wasted too much time just watching the show. Chu Han couldn't help but cover his face. The black light as thick as a thumb hit Chu Han's heart and penetrated directly into his body. However, when he regained his sight and just saw the scene of the three secret realms clearly, a black light suddenly came. His blood tank instantly returned to zero. Immediately, he looked firmly at the entrance to the triple secret realm. After quickly entering, Chu Han gathered his strength and prepared to kill the boss as quickly as possible. In other words, I have more than 8 minutes to kill the third floor boss. But then again, the entrance to the third secret realm is right in front of him, so it would be shameful not to go in. Minus 17,351,547. A fatal blow. Yes. Ignore him, no matter how hard you try, there is no reason to leave the third secret realm and not enter it. Phew. Poof. Now the task timer is stopped. As long as you enter the next level, the countdown will continue. His current health value is only over 8 million. After receiving this fatal blow, are you entering the triple secret realm, the River of Lament? Close black lens bracket. Chu Han's pupils dilated and he looked at the bloody hole on his chest in disbelief. Chapter 106. The Dragon Soul Saint Cloth is triggered, the Lord is not dead. Cardiac arrest. The vitality was drained rapidly, and Chu Han fell on his back. He slowly closed his eyes, feeling the endless coldness and darkness. The effect of equipping the Dragon Soul Saint Cloth is triggered. You are immune to this death, and enter the state of Dead Soul, which lasts for 60 minutes, close black lens bracket. After the Dead Soul state is over, you will be resurrected with full state, close black lens bracket. Grandpa is not dead. Opening his eyes suddenly, Chu Han was pleasantly surprised to find that he was not dead, but was floating in midair like a ghost. His body was glowing with a lavender light, becoming somewhat transparent, much like a ghost. Chu Han, Dead Soul state, occupation, Huayi mage, 5th rank. Health volume, 1/1. Open black lens bracket physique, 85,370 close black lens bracket open black lens bracket power, 73,440 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket wisdom, 118,370 close black lens bracket. Agility, 76,140. Spirit, 134,810. After seeing his state, Chu Han couldn't help clicking his tongue. After becoming a ghost, the upper limit of HP is only 1 point. In other words, in the current situation, if you come to anything, you will have to burp if you touch it. However, other than that, his stats increased explosively, directly multiplying by 10 times. And the skill bars are all lit up, which makes him feel at ease. Not daring to delay any longer, Chu Han hurriedly looked around. If the guy who sneaked up on him just now was still nearby, he would be in danger. It would be really cool to die again. At this time, he was in a dark forest. Not far away was a long flowing river. Several riverbeds intersected each other, like the graffiti of giants, with black river water surging inside, exuding a strong gray atmosphere outward. This should be the River of Lamentation. Let's stay away from the forest first. It was too dangerous to stay where he was, so Chu Han planned to go to the river, where the view was better. With a thought in his mind, he suddenly realized that he didn't have to walk at all, and could completely float around in midair. It was the first time he had such a novel experience. After quickly coming to the river, Chu Han leaned on the edge of a boulder and looked around. I saw that the light around here was dim, and it was eerily quiet. It really felt like the desolation of the border of hell. But he also understands how many dangers are buried in these dim depths. Purgatory natural disaster. The 200% powerful fire-type forbidden spell is shot, and the huge flame that incinerates the world soars into the sky, and explodes into a huge flame lotus, devouring the surroundings. Boom. With 10 times the attribute blessing, this move of Purgatory natural disaster has formed a posture of destroying the world. As the flame passed, the black forest was instantly destroyed, leaving only scorched earth on the ground. Ah! Amidst the billowing smoke, a heavy roar came, and the black water in the river of lamentation was shaken, causing ripples. It's the boss. Chu Han's expression froze. Just the roar makes one's heart palpitate. This guy is absolutely extraordinary. He held his breath and waited for the smoke to dissipate. Soon, a huge figure like a hill slowly appeared. Boom. Boom. The earth trembled, and it seemed that the giant was taking steps, approaching the river in the blink of an eye. When the figure approached, Chu Han finally saw clearly that the giant was nearly 30 meters high, and its blue skin was like armor, which seemed indestructible. On its face, there is only one eye, which is above the bridge of the nose, which looks a little funny, but more weird. Name: Cyclops, demigod level boss. Attribute: Devil. Open black lens bracket level. LV.360 close black lens bracket. Health volume: 361.83 million, 380 million. Open black lens bracket physique: 87,381 close black lens bracket open black lens bracket power: 105,783 close black lens bracket open black lens bracket wisdom: 83,573 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket agility: 66,274 close black lens bracket open black lens bracket spirit: 76,815 close black lens bracket. Combat power value: 455,822. Skills: Destroying Aurora, Embrace of the Styx, Devil's Roar, Zeus, Defeated Hell. I'm going. Demigod level boss. Feeling the pressure brought by the Cyclops, Chu Han couldn't help but step back a little to hide his figure. When it instantly killed itself just now, it should have used the skill, Destroy Aurora. Chu Han touched his chest, which still seemed to be in pain. Boom. Boom. The Cyclops came step by step, and crouched by the river. Panting heavily, it looked into the distance, and immediately attached itself, picked up the black river water and poured it into its mouth. Chu Han hid behind the boulder and did not dare to make a sound. I have only 1 drop of blood now, and the chance of resurrection is exhausted, so I must be more careful. This is a demigod level boss, which is different from the ones encountered before, so it must be handled with caution. After observing for a while, he was sure that the Cyclops hadn't found him, and it probably didn't know who destroyed the Black Forest until now. Okay, let's take advantage of now. Chu Han raised his hand and chanted softly. The distance between him and the Cyclops is enough to release the whisper of reincarnation. At this time, he was also very thankful that he had this dark-type forbidden spell, otherwise, he really couldn't handle the current situation. The black mist slowly drifted toward the Cyclops. When the danger approached, Cyclops seemed to sense something, and raised his head vigilantly. Breathing more and more heavily, it stood up suddenly, causing another tremor to the ground. You can't see me, you can't see me. Chu Han prayed in his heart, and at the same time, the black mist was already approaching the boss. Kill! Suddenly, the Cyclops let out a huge roar, and then a mysterious blue light lit up on his body. Obviously, it added a great buff to itself. Chu Han became more and more nervous. The boss must have noticed that there are enemies around, but he hasn't found himself yet. He leaned back against the boulder again. 10 seconds left, that's it. The Cyclops seemed a little restless and manic. It screamed wildly, its huge head turned around, and at the same time shot countless black rays of light from its eyes. Chu Han couldn't help but widen his eyes. It's this trick again, destroying the Aurora. I just died under this trick. Cyclops is very irritable. It can't see where the enemy is, and it doesn't know what method the opponent is using. But it instinctively sensed that a dangerous aura was coming quietly. This makes it a little crazy, but there is nothing to do. It can only use its skills wildly, trying to blow up the enemies hiding in the dark. As for Chu Han, who was standing beside the boulder, although he was not hit by the skill, he saw a few black lights shooting past him quickly. His blood is so cold. He wiped off his cold sweat and floated to the Cyclops' corpse. He didn't bother to take a closer look, and put away all the spoils. When the giant corpse fell to the ground, Chu Han breathed a sigh of relief, and his hanging heart returned to his stomach safely. The feeling of being enveloped by death became more and more intense. It panicked, and finally thought of running away. -9,999,999,999,999 after the Cyclops fired a round, he finally panicked. Boom. Open black lens bracket ding. Quadruple secret realm. Entrance to the underworld is triggered. Please enter carefully. Close black lens bracket. Roar. Fortunately, I am even more perverted, otherwise, 10 lives are not enough to die. As long as you are a little bit unlucky, your fate will be here. The strength of the triple secret realm is really not an ordinary abnormality. Call out, it's all over, 20 seconds, why is it so long? However, at this moment, Chu Han gently caressed his beating heart, showing the smile of the rest of his life after the catastrophe, and was about to exit the secret realm. But, it's too late. The countdown to the whispers of reincarnation has come to an end. Chapter 107 Lamenting the Demonic Eyes, Xiao He transforms again. F*K. Are you kidding me? Seeing the system prompt, Chu Han immediately collapsed. He was already pleasantly surprised to be able to encounter the third layer of Secret Realm, but he didn't expect that even the fourth layer has come out now. What's wrong with this shit? To enter or not to enter, that is the question. The third stage just now had almost cost Chu Han his life. And every time the Secret Realm goes to the next level, the difficulty increases explosively. I am still in the state of a dead soul, and I will die if touched by a monster, and it is impossible to be resurrected again. With such prerequisites, if you enter the fourth level, it is really no different from suicide. Of course, there is a more important point, that is, there is not much time left for my job change task. Chu Han opened the task panel, and the countdown was fixed at 1 minute and 21 seconds. When I entered the third level, there were more than 8 minutes left. In other words, it took me nearly 7 minutes from entering the third level to killing the Cyclops. If this is the case, can he kill the boss of the fourth level within 1 minute? Obviously unlikely. But then again, the fourth secret realm is in front of you. If you don't go in, I'm afraid you will regret it for the rest of your life. You must know that the chances of encountering a second level secret realm are very small, and the fourth level is even rarer in the world. If I missed it today, Chu Han was worried that he would have to slap himself when he remembered it when he dreamed back at midnight in the future. He squatted down in pain, grabbing his hair with both hands. This is really too difficult to choose. Call. After struggling for more than 10 minutes, Chu Han sighed slightly. He understood that this time, he might give up. No matter from which point of view, he should not continue to take risks. Although he felt extremely regretful in his heart, reason still prevailed. Sighing, Chu Han got up and walked to the purple vortex, reaching out to touch it reluctantly. Even if you don't go in, if you can touch the entrance, you can be considered as having contact with the quadruple secret realm that only exists in legends. This can be regarded as a psychological comfort for myself. Have you entered the quadruple secret realm, the entrance to the underworld? Close black lens bracket. Chu Han was silent for a moment. He wanted to choose yes, desperately, and then continue the unknown adventure. But he also understood that it was the most stupid behavior. No, squeezing out the word between his teeth, Chu Han's tone was full of regret. Open black lens bracket ding. The system prompts that the quadruple secret realm, the entrance of the sticks can be entered directly, or you can choose to generate a ticket, close black lens bracket. Generate tickets. Chu Han's eyes lit up, as if he had grasped some hope. He suddenly remembered that it was the six-tailed silver fox that opened the entrance for him when he entered the triple secret realm. What she said at the time was that she had the key to the triple secret realm. Could it be that this ticket is the so-called key? It must be so. Generate tickets. Chu Han didn't hesitate and made a choice directly. The ticket is generated successfully, and you get the prop, Queen's Scourge, close black lens bracket. Done. Chu Han was overjoyed, and then opened his backpack to check. Among the densely packed trophies, there was a gray stone shining with a dim light, like a petrified orb. Prop. Empress's Disaster, seal, open black lens bracket level. Star close black lens bracket. Introduction. Tickets for the secret realm, entrance to the river Styx, close black lens bracket. Seal. Looking at these two words, Chu Han scratched his head. Tickets can't be used directly, and you have to find a way to unblock them. It's too cheating. But it's okay, at least it's better than nothing. I planned to give up this secret realm at the beginning, and now at least I still have a chance to enter. After finding a place to sit down, Chu Han glanced at his panel. There are still about 40 minutes before he ends the state of the dead soul. Before that, he intends to stay here. The boss of this place has been killed, so it is safe. If you go out with a drop of blood, walk on the street, and meet an acquaintance who comes over and pats you on the shoulder, you will spiral into the sky on the spot. To be on the safe side, wait. Lying on the scorched grass, Chu Han tidied his backpack boredly. After hitting the third layer of the secret realm, his harvest is quite rich. 20 pieces of gold-level equipment around level 300 can be sold for tens of millions. In addition, there are 5 spiritual weapons that are also top quality. All that was left was the divine weapon glove, and the holy weapon Silver Fox gave him, the pure white sword. It's a pity that none of them can be used by myself. Except for this long sword to be used for missions, everything else can be thrown into the exchange. Looking through each piece, Chu Han felt a little dull. Until, when he saw a pitch-black round object, he couldn't help being slightly taken aback. Feed. Lamenting magic eyes. Open black lens bracket level. Star close black lens bracket. Introduction. The Cyclops guards the river of lamentation. This is its eyeball, which can be fed directly. Close black lens bracket. F*K. Chu Han felt a chill. Did this burst the boss's eyeballs? The truth is a bit outrageous. What's even more outrageous is that it can be used as feed to feed pets. If so, then. Little Black. Summoning Xiao He, Chu Han hesitantly took the magic eye of sorrow in his hand. When Xiao He was still a horse egg, he fed things randomly, and as a result, he mutated a good cold jade lion mane horse into a magic flame thunderwing horse. If I feed it again this time, will something happen again? Xiao He raised his front hooves and roared. It seemed that the ghostly aura here also affected its mind, making it extremely manic. Don't bark. Chu Han tried to appease him, then handed over the magic pupil of lamentation in his hand. Do you want to eat this? Before he could finish speaking, Xiao He growled maniacally, took the magic pupil of lamentation into his mouth, chewed it up and swallowed it. Well, Chu Han was startled, then looked at Xiao He. Is it delicious? What's wrong with you, Blackie? Within a few breaths, Xiao Heizhou could no longer see any flesh and blood. There seemed to be a huge force exploding from the body. Xiao He's 4 hooves kicked wildly, and a pair of giant wings kept flapping. It completely fell into madness. It stood in place, maintaining a posture of howling up to the sky. The black hair and skin on its body slowly faded, and then disappeared. Chu Han was taken aback by its performance, and quickly pressed the horse's back, feeling a surge of regret. That roar seemed to come from hell, thick and terrifying, full of terrifying hostility. How are you, Xiao He? Can you spit it out? Xiao He raised his head to the sky and howled, a voice that didn't belong to him at all. After Xiao He swallowed what was in his mouth, his pupils shrank suddenly, and he let out a painful scream. Roar. With the roar that pierced the sky, every muscle in Xiao He's body was tense. Chu Han was very anxious, and just about to try to hold it, he suddenly discovered that Xiao He's body began to undergo incredible changes. It turned out to be a bone horse made of bones. If it gets hurt because of feeding things indiscriminately, Chu Han will not feel happy. He has been with Xiao He for a long time, and he already has feelings. This is. In the end, the bones of the dead were exposed? Chapter 108 Go to War. Zhenwu Ceremony. Open black lens bracket name. Prison Nightmare Horse close black lens bracket. Nickname. Xiao He. Rank. Divine Beast. Master. Chu Han. Open black lens bracket level. LV.137 close black lens bracket open black lens bracket physique. 3721 close black lens bracket open black lens bracket power. 3604 close black lens bracket open black lens bracket wisdom. 4911 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket agility. 4278 close black lens bracket open black lens bracket spirit. 3792 close black lens bracket. Skills. Black Wing Demon Meteor, Pegasus Black Dragon Wave, Blood Moon Killing Sacrifice, Destroying Aurora, Styx's Embrace. After reading Xiao He's new attributes, Chu Han shook his head slightly. What a beast. Why did it fall into the devil's way? He stretched out his hand to caress Xiao He's body. There was a chill in the dense white bones, and the devilish energy was soaring into the sky. And in those eye sockets, there are 2 blue-purple ghost fires jumping, which should be its eyes. Chu Han was a little funny. This guy won't be able to blink anymore. If this continues, will his eyes dry out? Afterwards, he looked at the pair of relatively simple bone wings, which didn't even have a wing membrane. Could they fly? As if sensing Chu Han's suspicious gaze, Xiao He let out a hiss and opened his bone wings, as if he was inviting Chu Han to ride on it, so that he could prove himself. Okay, let me try. With a thought, Chu Han floated onto the horse's back. It's okay, not very ass. Hold head high. Xiao He let out a long howl, ran forward to vibrate the bone wings, and then took off smoothly without any hindrance, even a little faster than before. Feeling the sound of the wind, Chu Han experienced it for a moment before falling back to the ground. Looking at the past now, he feels that Xiao He's current appearance is not so unacceptable, and he even has a strange sense of beauty. However, when he gets feed in the future, he really doesn't dare to feed it casually. If you feed it again, you may not know what it will look like. Looking at the time, there is still half an hour before the state of the dead is over. Taking Xiao He back into the beast space, he continued to look through the backpack. The bosses are very generous, and the equipment they give is all top quality equipment, basically no rubbish. He even found this skill book in a pile of equipment. Poisonous Mist of the Styx. LV.220, 5th level skill, occupational restriction. Mage. Poison type skills. Chu Han watched carefully. This should be dropped by the hell 3-headed dog, and it must not be too bad. Do you want to learn Poisonous Fog of the Styx, close black lens bracket? Yes. Open black lens bracket ding. Congratulations on learning the skill. Styx Poison Mist, close black lens bracket. Passive skill, Demon Spirit Surge, is triggered, and the skill, Styx Poison Mist, is replaced with Pluto Seal, close black lens bracket. Skill, Pluto Seal. Active Poisonous Curse. Mark the enemy unit. When the unit dies, it will produce an explosion effect, and the mark will be transmitted to the surrounding enemies, and cause real damage. The damage value is the total value of the damage received during the period when the exploding unit is marked. Every time the infection explodes, the settlement damage increased by 10%. After reading the skill introduction, Chu Han lost his interest. I don't know why, but now he feels almost meaningless about the newly learned skills. Maybe it's because I have enough skills so far, so the desire for new skills is not as strong as it was at the beginning? Chu Han himself couldn't explain clearly. Take this new forbidden spell as an example. The strength is actually quite high, infinite corpse explosion, and the follow-up damage is getting higher and higher. It can be called abnormal. But after learning it, the improvement of oneself seems to be the same. Scanning the skill bar, you can use Purgatory Calamity and Nirvana Thunder to spawn mobs. Anyway, there is no consumption and no cooldown, and you can throw forbidden spells at will. If you kill the boss, there will be reincarnation whispers. This skill is so easy to use. Not to mention assistance and control, the three elements of water, fire and wind are all very useful. Flying, damage reduction, release control, recovery, invincibility, whatever you want. Looking at it this way, he seems to be invincible? Chu Han sat against the tree, looking into the distance boredly. Of course he knew that he wasn't really invincible, otherwise he wouldn't have to escape from the quadruple secret realm just now. But next, how to continue to improve? Is it enough to just upgrade? Chu Han was not very sure. After thinking hard for a long time, I couldn't figure out why. Immediately, he took out two things from his backpack. One was the skill book of level 300, Soul Guard, and the other was the Forbidden Magic Stone, which was only available at level 300. The skill book. Chu Han shook his head and stuffed it back into his backpack. Again, he really doesn't have much interest in new skills now. My own dictatorship domain can be invincible, so what's the use of this shield skill? However, the skill can be upgraded to a forbidden spell, which is the only thing he looks forward to. There may be surprises in the forbidden spell of 6th level skill transformation. Looking at the taboo magic stone left in his hand, Chu Han concentrated on observing. This stone seems to have some kind of magical power, like a forbidden fruit in the Garden of Eden, filled with endless temptation. Chu Han was almost lost in it, so he quickly pulled his gaze back. Level 300, coming soon. At that time, he can use this stone to obtain a second job. As long as he becomes a knight, he will have a chance to enter the Royal Knights. This is the best way to investigate the whereabouts of my sister. Although Yao Shengyu helped him with divination once before, but in the end he only gave an unknown answer like, under the sea. There is not even a clear direction, just saying that you can find the answer when you go to the Zhenwu Grand Ceremony. To be honest, Chu Han didn't have much hope for this. Therefore, in his plan, entering the Royal Knights is always an unavoidable step. First make a name for yourself in the true martial arts ceremony, and then change your job to become a knight. I don't believe they don't want me. After making up his mind, Chu Han stopped thinking about other things. At least, I now have a very clear goal and can fight for it. So, what is there to be confused about? Sister, you must wait for me. Half an hour later, Chu Han walked out of the secret realm. All the way to the job transfer temple, Chu Han successfully delivered the task. Open black lens bracket Chu Han close black lens bracket, occupation, Venerable Skywalker, 6th rank. Open black lens bracket level, LV.240 close black lens bracket, physique, 13,571. Open black lens bracket power, 10,219 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket wisdom, 16,718 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket agility, 10,426 close black lens bracket. Spirit, 17,886. Combat power value, 498,173. Skills, Surge of Demon Spirits, Calamity of Purgatory, Nirvana Thunder, Source of 10,000 Laws, Bihai Chaosheng, God's End, Extraordinary Comprehension, Windling Wings, Soul Dance, Heart of Bai Zi, Temple of Light, Domain of Dictatorship, Whispers of Reincarnation, Advent of the God King, Seal of Hades. Almost less than 500,000 combat power, should be able to show a crushing posture in the Zhenwu Grand Ceremony. After all, the participants in this competition are all newcomers who have changed jobs within 2 years. Even if they have a little talent, they can excel in their respective places. But in front of him, he can only be a younger brother. After successfully turning 6, Chu Han returned to the spiritual practice church. He's ready to rest. Tomorrow morning, they will go to Guling Mountain in Dongzhou City to compete in the Zhenwu Grand Ceremony. Chapter 109 The Royal Knights, Chu Zai's old friend? The Zhenwu Grand Ceremony is a competition based on guilds, and each guild has 3 contestants. As long as it is a guild in the Dragon Kingdom, it can sign up. Of course, most guilds need to play in the finals in the local area, and only after meeting the requirements can they enter the official competition. There are a total of 100 places in the official competition. Similar to the powerful guilds such as the Church of Spiritual Practice and the Royal Knights, they can skip the finalists and go directly to Guling Mountain. After Chu Han, Ni Li, and Juniper were ready, they set off together. In addition, 3 elders headed by Ni Chen went with him. After all, the Zhenwu Grand Ceremony is extraordinary, and the guild attaches great importance to it. At this time, Ni Li no longer had the initial hostility toward Chu Han. Ever since Chu Han broke Shen Xingquan's clearance record for many years in the Nether Tower last time, he looked at Chu Han with nothing but admiration. Moreover, he was extremely ashamed of his stupid act of challenging Chu Han before. Not to mention Juniper, his brain structure has a simple beauty, and he doesn't think about too complicated things, so he knows that Chu Han is awesome, so it's good to hang out with him. Only Ni Chen still felt that Chu Han was a bit annoying because his grandson failed to get the number 1 seed. However, he didn't deliberately do anything against Chu Han. After all, the Zhenwu Grand Ceremony is related to the entire guild, and he can still clearly understand the collective honor and personal grievances. After some rectification, under the leadership of Ni Chen, a group of 6 people boarded the guild's exclusive airship and flew towards Dongzhou City. Under the call of the Zhenwu Grand Ceremony, Guling Mountain was overcrowded. The Dragon Kingdom has a vast territory and a diverse population of people. At this time, almost all the people who live here are dressed in different clothes, and they can be seen from different places at a glance. Even from their communication, more than a dozen languages of different systems can be heard. The Zhenwu Grand Ceremony is held by the official organization of the Dragon Kingdom, and with the support of the Longwu department behind it, each session will attract wide attention. Therefore, compared with the final reward, what people want more is the attention of the Longwu department. The rewards for obtaining rankings are nothing more than some top-quality equipment, battle pets or special props, which at most can improve one's own strength. But if he performed well and aroused the interest of the senior officials of the Longwu department, it would be regarded as an opportunity for himself to change his fate against the sky and cross classes. This is also the reason why countless people will sharpen their heads and want to participate in every Zhenwu Grand Ceremony. Chu Han and the others went directly to the top of the mountain, and what they saw were 5 newly built arenas. There are 4 big players and 1 small in the ring, surrounded by dozens of beams of light at this time. People are forbidden to approach, and they will only be released after the official start of the match. Across the arena and walking inside, there is a huge manor. This place is called Shenglong Manor, and it occupies a very large area. It is impossible to see the whole picture from the outside. It's Elder Ni Chen, please follow me. As soon as he stepped into the manor, a waiter in a red and white dress came over and said respectfully to Ni Chen. With the strength and prestige of the Lingshou Church, it is natural to get some special care here. Thank you. Ni Chen nodded slightly, then motioned for everyone behind him to follow. Ni Chen led the team to every Zhenwu Grand Ceremony, so he knew the process well. While the others were still looking around in confusion, not knowing where to go, Chu Han and his party had already arrived at a hotel inside the manor under the leadership of the waiter. This hotel is specially built for entertaining the contestants. From the outside, its architectural style full of sense of technology does not match the classical temperament of Fanglong Manor. But when they walked inside, they were all shocked by its luxury. My mother, Ni Li, was a rich second generation, but he couldn't help but exclaimed at this time. The interior decoration of this hotel is very exaggerated, all kinds of expensive decorations are dazzling, it can be described as magnificent. How expensive it is to stay here for one night, Juniper also whispered. But after he finished speaking, he realized that he was here to participate in the competition, not to travel, so he didn't need to pay for the accommodation. But even so, he still changed his old habit and took his steps lightly so as not to damage the floor. Ni Chen, who was walking in front, heard the movement and coughed twice as a reminder. The two hurriedly put away their country bumpkin looks, followed their footsteps and continued on their way. Chu Han was not in the mood to pay attention to these things. He walked in the middle of the line with his hands in his pockets, his expression slightly dignified. According to Yao Shengyu, when he came here, he would get clues about his sister, so he looked around for fear of missing something. But he walked all the way to the room, but he didn't find anything. Elder Ni, we're here. The 6 of you lived here during the competition. The waiter pushed open the door, handed the key to Ni Chen, and turned to leave. It was a luxury suite with 6 bedrooms, just big enough for the 6 of them. Okay, choose a room by yourself, and take a rest first. Ni Chen said, then looked at Chu Han and the others. You 3, go to the banquet hall on the 1st floor to attend the party tonight. At that time, all the contestants will pass by. You can communicate with them and get familiar with them as much as possible. Maybe it will be helpful for future matches. Hearing this, Ni Li was slightly taken aback. Is it just the 3 of us going? Grandpa, you won't be with us then? The 3 of us have other things to do. The grouping ceremony is scheduled for the afternoon. You don't need to show up. Elder Lu and Elder Lu will just go there. According to the schedule requirements of the Zhenwu Grand Ceremony, 100 guilds will be divided into 4 groups of Heaven, Earth, Zan, and Yellow. After 2 rounds of group matches, the top 2 guilds in each group will enter the quarterfinals and continue to compete. Okay, let's go back to the room first. After listening to Ni Chen's explanation, the 3 little guys looked around the room for a while, and tacitly chose 3 adjacent bedrooms. It was almost noon at this time, and a waiter came over not long after and delivered a sumptuous lunch. After eating, Chu Han stayed in the room. Until the evening, there was a sudden knock on the door outside. He got up and opened the door, only to find Ni Li and Juniper standing at the door of his bedroom. Let's go, Chu Han, it's time for us to go to the party, Ni Li hesitated and said. When he was talking to Chu Han now, he was somewhat nervous. After all, in his heart, the other party had already been promoted from a competitor to an idol-level figure. Chu Han nodded, and the three of them came to the banquet hall on the first floor together. At this time, the party has not yet started, but the seats are almost full. The contestants are all young people who have changed jobs for less than 2 years. At this time, many small circles have formed and they are talking with each other. Chu Han glanced slightly, and there were almost everyone in here. Arrogant and loud, shy, suave, scantily clad. Young people from all over the world gathered together, resulting in many surprising collisions of cultures and personalities. Chu Han didn't know anyone, so he found an empty seat and sat down. On the contrary, Ni Li and Juniper met a few acquaintances in Shanghai City and had a warm conversation. After pouring himself a glass of fruit wine, Chu Han lay comfortably on the bench, listening to the soothing music in the hall. Clatter, clatter, footsteps sounded, and Chu Han suddenly noticed someone standing beside him. He raised his head and saw 4 strangers he had never seen before. He couldn't help frowning slightly. Who are you? Among the 4, one was slightly older. He stood up and looked at Chu Han carefully, and said immediately, "You are Captain Chu Zai's younger brother, Chu Han?" Hearing this, Chu Han had a thought, stood up from the bench, and asked in a deep voice, "I'm Chu Han, who are you?" When he got the answer, the corner of the man's mouth curled up. "Get to know me, my name is Hu Yuan, from the Royal Knights. Your sister, Chu Shi, is an old friend with me." Chapter 110. Kneel down and apologize, friend? Chu Han's face darkened, and the word came out of Hu Yuan's mouth with a hint of sarcasm and disdain. Raising his head slightly, Chu Han saw 3 people standing behind Hu Yuan, their eyes full of provocation. It was obvious that the person who came here was ill-intentioned. Chu Han adjusted his sitting posture, crossed his legs casually, then shook the goblet in his hand and said elegantly, "What do you want from me?" Seeing Chu Han's condescending look, Hu Yuan suddenly became furious. Especially the tone in which he spoke was like a respected elder lecturing a junior. A hint of viciousness flashed across Hu Yuan's face, but before he could say anything, the younger brother behind him couldn't help it anymore. "Boy, why are you talking to our captain? Why are you so arrogant? Even if Chu Shi comes, he wouldn't dare to have this attitude like Captain Hu." Chu Han turned his head and glanced at a few more people and said impatiently, "Can you let it go as soon as possible? Just tell me what you want to do with me. Anyway, the other party has made it clear that they have no good intentions, and Chu Han is simply rude. He will not let the other party indulge in their bad habits just because they are members of the Royal Knights." Hearing this, Hu Yuan laughed pitifully. "Chu Han, back then your sister took the position of captain away from me, causing me to be ridiculed. Now that I have become the captain by virtue of my own strength, I should settle this debt with her. It's a pity that she disappeared, so her debt must be repaid by your brother." After hearing what he said, Chu Han couldn't help but laugh in his heart. The guy in front of him could tell at a glance that he didn't have a bright mind. He tapped his forehead with his fingers, recalled for a moment and said, "If I remember correctly, my sister became captain through an internal competition within the guild. She talked to me about this at the beginning. She said that she was lucky. She met a group of rookies and got the title of captain very easily." After finishing speaking, Chu Han looked at Hu Yuan with great interest. "You should be one of those rookies, right?" "What did you say?" Hu Yuan's face was gloomy, completely irritated by Chu Han's playful and contemptuous tone. Click. His right arm shook, and a blue knight's broadsword appeared out of nowhere and plunged into the floor upside down, the blade humming outwards. Wow! A burst of exclamations suddenly erupted in the hall. People didn't pay attention just now, until the giant sword appeared. Everyone looked sideways. F***K. Such a strong oppressive force. Who is this person? I don't know him, but this huge sword looks familiar. It seems to be Tianyu Qingfeng. That's right, that's it, the weapon used by the champion of the last Zhenwu Grand Ceremony. I saw it with my own eyes 5 years ago. So, that man is Hu Yuan, the previous champion? No wonder he is so powerful. It looks like he's about to fight someone else. Who is that kid opposite him? I know, he is from the Spiritual Cultivation Church. This kid seems to have a lot of background. He is the apprentice of Elder Shen Xingchen. It is said that he killed an old evil god. Damn it, the 2 top guilds are fighting before the competition starts. Hurry up, call everyone who didn't come over, it's a good show. What's so interesting? Hu Yuan was the champion 5 years ago, and his strength must have improved to a higher level now. I heard he has reached rank 8. If he fights against that boy from the Spiritual Cultivation Church, he will probably be crushed in one move. All eyes in the hall were attracted by Chu Han's side. He looked at Hu Yuan indifferently, with a disdainful mockery on the corner of his mouth. Why, are you anxious when I say it? Hu Yuan's face was ugly, and he responded viciously. Chu Han, don't be too self-righteous, even if it is Chu Shi. Don't mention my sister. Chu Han suddenly shouted coldly, interrupting Hu Yuan. You are such a piece of shit, you don't deserve to mention her name. It took more than a year for my sister to become the captain and then disappear. Why didn't you seek revenge from her? Could it be because you didn't dare? Hu Yuan was stunned, and immediately bit his back molars, speechless for a moment. Chu Han sneered, and continued, when my sister was around, you wouldn't even dare to mention the word, revenge. Now that my sister is missing, you want to get back the old place from me? Why, do you want to use this dirty way to try to restore your pitiful and worthless dignity? If I'm not mistaken, before you came to me, I'm afraid you also read the information of the players I registered in the Zhenwu Grand Ceremony. A bullying waste like you should know that I only have the courage to come to revenge after the 6th rank? It's ridiculous. Hu Yuan's complexion turned purple with rage, and he clenched his fists tightly after Chu Han slapped him. However, what Chu Han said was the truth, and every word pierced his heart, making it impossible for him to refute. Hearing the whispers of the people around him, and the mocking eyes from time to time, Hu Yuan's aura suddenly dissipated. Okay, Chu Han, if you can say it, I won't make things difficult for you today. After weighing for a moment, Hu Yuan withdrew his weapon, with a vicious expression on his face. However, don't think that I will let you go. After meeting in the game, I will make you regret coming to this place. Let's go. Putting down his harsh words, Hu Yuan waved his hand and turned around and left with the 3 contestants. At this time, Chu Han suddenly stood up from the bench and shouted in a cold voice, want to leave after going crazy? Stop for me. What's more, not only them, but even the onlookers around who hadn't been recruited could feel the kingly aura emanating from Chu Han's body, which made people have an urge to surrender to him. He stood in front of the 4 of them, stretched out a finger, pointed down slowly, and said solemnly. Tap, tap. After an unknown amount of time, finally, Chu Han stood in front of them. Chu Han's gaze was so bright that they dared not look directly at him, and his clothes were soaked in cold sweat. The power of God King descending invaded the minds of the 4 people. Their wills were controlled, and they were driven by Chu Han at will. The 4 of them stagnated, their bodies trembling and frozen in place. Their souls seemed to be ruthlessly pinched by a big hand, and they no longer belonged to them. The 4 hurriedly bowed their heads, respectful like the most loyal servants seeing their master. They don't know why this happens, but their bodies seem to be out of control, doing what they should do best. Chu Han's face is frosty, his voice is like Juyu. Who? Well, a huge aura suddenly erupted, and a tyrannical and unparalleled mental force burst out from Chu Han's body. Hu Yuan and the others were short of breath, and time seemed to slow down thousands of times in their eyes, which was extremely painful. Kneel down and apologize. Boom, Chu Han approached slowly, and controlled the 4 of them with his thoughts, causing them to turn around and face him. As they walked step by step, the pressure on Hu Yuan's and others' hearts became heavier. Chapter 111 What sorcery did you use? Outside the banquet hall of Shanglong Manor is a square that can accommodate thousands of people. At this time, the banquet has not yet started, and many people are standing and chatting here. Ni Li shuttled back and forth among the crowd, chatting non-stop. After all, he was born in a spiritual church, and people were willing to flirt with him, so Ni Li could chat with almost everyone, and then clink glasses with each other and sip. Juniper is usually stupid and straight-talking, and doesn't understand the social aspect, so he always follows Ni Li. At this moment, the crowd in the square suddenly became restless, and immediately after that, many people ran into the banquet hall. What's the matter? Is the banquet started? Ni Li turned his head suspiciously and asked softly. Juniper glanced at the time, shook his head, no, there are still more than 10 minutes. Hearing this, Ni Li frowned, then reached out and grabbed someone who was rushing towards the banquet hall. Hey, brother, what happened? When the man was stopped, his expression suddenly changed, but after seeing that it was Ni Li, he put away his anger and said, Brother Ni Li, why are you still here? Ni Li was startled. Me? What do you mean, is something wrong inside? Of course something happened. I just heard that the banquet hall is very lively. Hu Yuan, the captain of the Royal Knights, do you know? He was the champion of the last Zhenwu Grand Ceremony, and he fought with the members of your spiritual cultivation church. It is said that it is a young man. Could it be your contestant? Why don't you go and have a look? Young man? Ni Li's pupils opened slightly, and then he turned to look at Juniper. The faces of the two changed drastically, and they blurted out at the same time, Chu Han. A chill suddenly rose in Ni Li's heart. He has heard of Hu Yuan's name, although he is not familiar with him, but the 2 titles of Royal Knight Team Leader and Zhenwu Grand Ceremony Champion are worth a lot of gold. The strength of this person must not be underestimated. Chu Han, there is danger. Go. Ni Li panicked, and hurriedly dragged Juniper towards the banquet hall. At the same time, in the banquet hall, although there were many people, it was surprisingly quiet at this moment. Ever since Chu Han finished saying, kneel down and apologize, the onlookers opened their mouths wide open, amazed at Chu Han's courage. You know, he is facing a rank 8 powerhouse. Being able to make a name for yourself in a top guild like the Royal Knights and become a captain-level cadre is definitely not a good thing. What's more, there are 3 young Tianzhao who participated in the Zhenwu Grand Ceremony standing behind him. The strength of the 2 sides is very different. This Chu Han. What the hell is he thinking? No, he doesn't think he is the protagonist of the movie, does he? Even though there are tens of thousands of people, I will go for it? Are you crazy? Damn, Elder Shen Xingshen's current standard for accepting apprentices, is it enough to be confident enough? Then I can try it too. Pull it down, he is not confident, he just can't tell the difference between big and small kings. He is so brave, I cried to death. Many people began to sweat coldly for Chu Han, but more people still had the attitude of watching the fun. They are extremely looking forward to how Hu Yuan will go crazy next, show the strength of a rank 8 knight, and crush Chu Han into the dust. In that case, the two top guilds will collide violently, and this year's Zhenwu Grand Ceremony will be more fun. However, the development of things seems to be slightly different from what they expected. Hu Yuan and the others not only didn't get mad, but showed some cowardice and fear. The powerful spiritual power invaded the consciousness, and the bodies of the 4 people headed by Hu Yuan began to tremble violently. There seemed to be some kind of strange magic power in Chu Han's voice. Like an oracle. This made them have no desire to resist at all, and could only obey orders. Yes, I'm sorry, please forgive me. After uttering a few words with difficulty, Hu Yuan and the others lowered their bodies and knelt tremblingly. Boom, looking at the 4 people who surrendered in front of Chu Han, everyone in the banquet hall was dumbfounded, watching the scene in front of them like a mirage. No one dared to believe that this was what actually happened in front of them. Leaving aside the other 3, that Hu Yuan is a cadre at the captain level of the Royal Knights. He was also the champion of the last Zhenwu Grand Ceremony. With such strength, in a guild below the 3rd rate, he can even serve as the president. However, it was such a person who knelt down in front of Chu Han in front of the crowd. Even though Chu Han has some status, he is just a newcomer who has just changed jobs after all. How can he be compared with Hu Yuan? If the two exchange positions, then it is still acceptable. However, it was Hu Yuan who was kneeling there, and Chu Han stood proudly, as if accepting the gods worshipped by mortals, secretive and sacred. What the hell? What happened? Why did Hu Yuan kneel down to that kid? Someone explain it to me. What the hell did Chu Han do? I seem to be losing control of my knees. Hurry up and hold me. He seems to be shining with holy light. Is this the legendary god descending to earth? Yar, I really want to give him too. There are whispers in the banquet hall. Although the rest of the people were not affected by the control effect of God King descends, they felt the great power emanating from Chu Han's body, and they all showed their pressure. That kind of pressure was not very obvious at the beginning, but as time went by, it slowly invaded the depths of the soul like tarsal maggots. This made everyone surrender to Chu Han. However, fortunately, they were not really caught in the trick, so they would not fall into it. On the other side, Chu Han's gaze was like a blade. Perhaps it was because the mention of his sister Chu Shi made his mind fluctuate, and at this time, he was actually moved to kill. The lives of Hu Yuan and the others are like straws that are about to wither in front of him, ready to be harvested at any time. Boom. At this moment, the door of the banquet hall was kicked open. Ni Li's figure appeared at the door, and he shouted in a panic, "Chu Han, are you okay?" Immediately afterwards, Juniper rushed in with big strides. He is bigger than Ni Li and has a louder voice. "Hu Yuan, you F*** king dared to bully my Chu Han, how shameless are you?" I. Juniper originally had a ferocious face, as if he wanted to eat people. But when he saw the scene in the banquet hall clearly, he was taken aback. I wipe it. It never occurred to him that when he rushed forward recklessly, what he saw was such a strange scene. He wiped his eyes fiercely, and reconfirmed that the one kneeling was Hu Yuan, and the one standing was Chu Han. After a lot of effort, he finally accepted the reality. This Nima looks like a clown. Even Ni Li froze in place, lost in deep doubts. However, when he thought about it carefully, since he knew Chu Han, nothing reasonable happened to him. The one in front of me seems to be acceptable. After being interrupted by these two people, Chu Han regained his composure, and put away his murderous intentions. He understands that if he kills the members of the Royal Knights now, although he can enjoy himself for a while, the follow-up will definitely bring trouble to the Church of Spiritual Practice. At that time, whether I can continue to participate in the Zhenwu Grand Ceremony is a question. Although he didn't care about this, he still believed in Yao Shengyu's prophecy that he would find clues to his sister in the Zhenwu Grand Ceremony. Therefore, Chu Han didn't want to make mistakes along the way. What's more, Hu Yuan is a villain at best, and he ran in front of him to pretend to be aggressive, but he didn't have to kill him. After thinking about it again and again, Chu Han terminated his skills, released the control on Hu Yuan and the others, and took 2 steps back calmly. When the mental strength was withdrawn, Hu Yuan and the others collapsed to the ground, their breathing became heavier, and cold sweat poured down like rain. It took a long time before they felt that the control of their bodies had returned to their own hands, and they supported each other to stand up. Hu Yuan panted heavily, looking at Chu Han with deep fear in his eyes. "You, what did you do to us? What kind of sorcery is this?" Chapter 112. It doesn't matter, I will take action. Witchcraft? Chu Han smiled, sat back on the bench leisurely, and responded lightly. "Captain Hu, I only have skills, but I don't have any so-called black arts. You and I are young people who grew up in the new era, feudal superstition is not a good idea. As soon as these words came out, snickers immediately came from around. Hu Yuan swallowed his saliva and wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. The voices of ridicule and sarcasm came from all directions, drowning him like a tide. He panicked even more. Originally, he thought that he was absolutely crushing, and wanted to give Chu Han a blow. But I never expected that in the blink of an eye, I would be in such a mess. Okay, Chu Han, you're kind. In order to save a bit of face, Hu Yuan insisted and said. No matter what tricks you played, this time I admit that I fell into your hands. When we meet in the main match, I will let you know what the real difference in strength is. It's a pity that I can't teach you personally. Hearing this, there was a burst of boos in the hall. Even Juniper couldn't help laughing out loud, and walked up to Hu Yuan. Don't be ashamed. You were beaten to the knees and begged for mercy by Chu Han, but now you are still stubborn. Your skin is probably thicker than the wall of my toilet. These few words elicited another burst of laughter, and Hu Yuan's face became even uglier. He also understood that he had just lost face and had already caused damage to the guild's image, so it was not appropriate to stay here for a long time. HMPH, Chu Han, you have to work hard, don't die in the group stage, otherwise we won't be able to meet. Chu Han tilted his head. Understood, you are filial to care about me so much. Hu Yuan's face turned red, his strength was crushed, and he couldn't take advantage of it, so he could barely put down a few harsh words, and then left the banquet hall with his 3 younger brothers. A farce ended in a hurry, and the party was about to begin. With Chu Han's performance just now, the 3 people from Sholing Church naturally became the center of the banquet. For a long time, the Royal Knights and the Church of Spiritual Practice have been equal in strength, and many people have been arguing about who is worthy to be the #1 guild in the Dragon Kingdom. With something like this happening tonight, the balance seems to have tipped a little. Not long after, Ni Chen sent a message on the team channel, briefly explaining the grouping situation of the game. The 100 teams in the Zhenwu Grand Ceremony are divided into 4 groups of Heaven, Earth, Zan, and Huang. 25 teams in each group will play against each other for 2 rounds, and the top 2 teams will advance to the quarterfinals. Ni Chen specially emphasized that the Spiritual Cultivation Church was assigned to the Zan group. There was also a guild named Phoenix Pavilion, who was also assigned to the Zan group. But the old opponent of the Spiritual Church. For the past 3 consecutive years, the Sholing Church and the Phoenix Pavilion were in the same group. Moreover, each session is the first place in the Sholing Church group and the second place in the Phoenix Pavilion group. The 2 brothers join hands to qualify. History is always strikingly similar. This time, I don't know if it's a coincidence, or the officials deliberately made a move. In short, the 2 guilds have a narrow road to each other, and they are divided into the same group. Although in terms of the overall strength of the guild, the Phoenix Pavilion can't keep up with the Church of Sholing. But in this competition, the youngsters from their respective teams are playing, so it is not easy to say who will win and who will lose. After several hours of tossing, the party is drawing to a close. These contestants seem to be harmonious on the surface, but they are actually testing each other, trying to learn more about their opponents. In that case, on the court, his chances of winning will be increased by 1 point. Chu Han was a little tired of this atmosphere, and when the crowd dispersed, they also returned to their residence. In the luxurious suite, the headlights in the living room were bright, and the 3 elders were sitting on the sofa, as if they were discussing something. Seeing the 3 young men coming back, Ni Chen beckoned them to go too. After sitting down, Ni Li saw the serious expressions of the 3 elders, so he asked, "Grandpa, what happened?" Ni Chen was sitting upright, looking around everyone. "I just told you about the general grouping situation. Now, let's take a look at the specific schedule." As he spoke, he pointed to a pale yellow notice board on the coffee table with scrawled words on it, which read the first day's battle table for the Zan group. Juniper moved his bulky body and squeezed over. When he looked at it, he couldn't help laughing. "Hey, the Phoenix Pavilion is the first battle, so I have to teach them a lesson. After all, Phoenix Pavilion has been overwhelmed for 3 consecutive years, so Juniper is also full of confidence at this time." Ni Li also looked relaxed, and didn't notice anything wrong. And Ni Chen frowned slightly, his expression slightly worried. He and the other 2 elders looked at each other, and then continued. "The rules of the battle, I think you all know it, right?" Hearing this, Ni Li nodded his head as a matter of course. These are the basic rules, they naturally understand. The group stage is a point system, and each group of guilds will play a BO3. The number 3 seeds of the 2 sides play the first match, and the winner's guild will add 1 point, and then the number 2 seed will face off, and the winner will get 2 points. The finale is the number 1 seed match, and the winner gets 3 points. This was what Ni Chen was most worried about. Ni Li rarely saw such a serious look on his grandfather's face, and at this moment he also realized the seriousness of the problem. It's like fighting against a mage. Even if you don't know what skills the opponent has, you can still know that this is a crispy skin and is afraid of getting close, so you can target it. Hearing this, Ni Li and Juniper were astonished. Well, after working together for a long time, the 3 elders were worried about themselves. Chu Han shrugged and said casually, "It doesn't matter, I will make a move. In actual combat, the most troublesome thing is to hide the profession, because you don't understand its profession positioning and combat style at all. Judging from his strength on paper, Chu Han was completely crushed. So, I'm not worried about you and Juniper. I know you too well, and you should be able to win easily. He opened his mouth and said, Grandpa, you mean it's hard for us to win? It's just that the opponent's number 1 seed is a 430 level 7th rank hidden profession, Garen Arhat. Ni Chen continued. This year's true martial arts ceremony, the Phoenix Pavilion is coming fiercely. The contestants are much stronger than the previous ones. I'm afraid they won't be easy to deal with. But in the face of hidden occupations, especially those that have not been exposed to the public, it is impossible to start. So, Ni Chen paused, then looked at Chu Han. What I'm most worried about is the battle for the number 1 seed. We might suffer a lot. Ni Chen shook his head. Their number 2 and number 3 seeds are okay, and their strength is relatively average. What's more, the opponent has reached the peak level of rank 7, so it can be said that he is a half-step rank 8 powerhouse. As the saying goes, knowing yourself, knowing your enemy, and winning every battle, but now the information about the number 1 seed of Phoenix Pavilion is completely blank. Chapter 113 Sanju, the hidden weapon of the Phoenix Pavilion. Guling Mountain under the night is quiet and deep. At this time, everything is silent, all beasts are dormant, only the pale moonlight shines through the gaps in the leaves, blown by the wind, and gently shakes. Swish. Swish. 2 slender and sexy figures appeared one after another, landing alternately on the thick branches. Both women are wearing tights, one is red and the other is black. Their seductive figures are hidden in the darkness, and the uneven outlines can be vaguely seen. Under the faint moonlight, the woman in red was full of excitement, and her eyes shone wildly. Is the prey all here? When are we going to do it? The woman in black was a little calm, and said in a low voice, No hurry, Mr. Shaolin has already sent someone to come, we will talk about it later. Send someone? Hong Yi was slightly taken aback. Won't Mr. Shaolin come by himself? How could he give up on such an exciting hunt? Well, Mr. Shaolin has other things to do, so let's not act rashly, so as not to alarm them. That's it, that's really a pity. The woman in red looked far away to the top of the mountain. I can't help but start hunting now. The woman in black looked coldly. Don't mess around, these prey are of great use. Mr. Shaolin will use them to wake up the sleeping Yamada no Orochi. If you startle the snake and spoil Mr. Shaolin's plan, he will be angry. He. The woman in red smiled softly, but the corners of her mouth twitched uncontrollably. She knew that what the companion said was no joke. Not everyone can bear Kobayashi Jiro's anger. That boy who was only 16 years old had the heart of a monster beating in his chest, which was evil and terrifying. Thinking of the look in his eyes when he was angry, it was even colder than the mountain wind at night. The woman in red couldn't help trembling. Observing in place for a while, the figures of the two disappeared again and disappeared without a trace. At this moment, in the lounge behind Shunlong Villa, the lights in most of the rooms have been turned off. Qi Tianyang stood in front of the window with his hands behind his back, looking at the luxurious high-end hotel outside the glass, with mixed feelings in his heart. Those who can live there, except for the 2 top guilds of the Spiritual Cultivation Church and the Royal Knights, the rest are people who have made significant contributions to the Dragon Kingdom official. They are not qualified to enter the Phoenix Pavilion yet. Outside the window, there are dense shadows of trees, like solemn warriors guarding the place. Under Qi Tianyang's gaze, a drop of rain hit the window, starting the first rain after autumn. Tuck tuck tuck. Come in. There was a knock on the door, and Qi Tianyang withdrew his thoughts and sat on the sofa. Elder Qi. The 2 young men pushed the door open and entered. After greeting each other, they sat respectfully across from Qi Tianyang. Qi Tianyang revealed that he leaned back and squinted at the 2 people opposite him. Tomorrow's opening match, the first game of the Xuanzi group, will be played by us. Hearing this, the 2 of them looked at each other, and probably understood why Elder Qi called him over in the middle of the night. Hong Lin smiled and said, Don't worry Elder Qi, Wang Wei and I will definitely do our best. Wang Wei also hastily expressed his determination. Yes, we will definitely live up to your expectations. Qi Tianyang took a deep look at the 2 of them, but he didn't show his joy because of their fighting spirit. After a pause, he continued, Tomorrow our opponent is the spiritual church. Ah, this. Like a bucket of cold water being poured on their heads, the smiles of Hong Lin and Wang Wei froze on their faces. Qi Tianyang's expression remained unchanged and he said calmly, We must win this battle. Hong Lin swallowed, and the confident look he had just now was gone. Just the words, culture of spirituality, made him feel great pressure. Wang Wei couldn't help but say, Elder Qi, we also hope to win, but the Church of Sholing. Hong Lin quickly reached out and interrupted Wang Wei. Even if he knew in his heart that the chance of victory was not high, he could not say such discouraging words in front of the elders. He frowned slightly and rolled his eyes. Elder Qi, Wang Wei and I are only the 2nd and 3rd seeds. Even if we win, we can only get 3 points. The key depends on the outcome of the 1st seed. But Wang Wei and I have never seen our number 1 seed until now. So, there is no way for the 2 of us to guarantee that we will win now. No matter what, let's pass the blame to others first. And he also knew how strong Chu Han was, and his number one seed had almost no chance of winning. Wang Wei nodded like a chicken pecking rice, and hurriedly agreed. Yes, yes, why is our number one seed so mysterious? I haven't seen him since our guild decided on the candidate. It wasn't until I registered the information today that I found out his rank and occupation. His name seems to be Jalan Arhat. Who is this person? Is he reliable? Haha. Shi Tianyang smiled softly, raised his hand and looked at the time. You don't have to worry about this. What I ask of you two is that you must win at least one game. As long as you two get points, we can win, because in the battle for the number one seed, we're sure to win. Seeing Elder Qi's extremely confident smile, Hong Lin and Wang Wei didn't quite believe it. You know, the number one seed of Sholing Church is Chu Han. And tonight in the banquet hall, they all saw Chu Han's performance. Even the 8th level expert of the Royal Knights was easily defeated by Chu Han. How could his side be sure of victory? This is a bit bragging, isn't it, Elder Qi? You probably haven't heard about Chu Han yet. Hong Lin touched his nose and told Shi Tianyang everything that happened in the banquet hall tonight. After listening to it, Shi Tianyang didn't take it seriously and said with a smile, a 6 rank, can let 8 rank kneel down for him? It's interesting. Could it be a mind control skill? Exposing one's own strength before starting a battle, not knowing how to hide it, being so arrogant, it's hard to become a master. After listening, the corners of Hong Lin's mouth twitched slightly. Yes, you will still hide. You have hidden the number one seed until now. You haven't even seen your own people. Just hide him until the end of the game. He complained in his heart, but his mouth was still respectful as before. Elder Qi, although Chu Han's level is not high, his strength lies there. It's reasonable for the Sholing Church to let him be the number one seed, our side. Comprehending the meaning of Hong Lin's words, Shi Tianyang continued to smile. Don't worry, you can see him tonight, and Sanju will be there soon. Sanju? Hearing this name, both Hong Lin and Wang Wei's heart skipped a beat, and they looked up at Shi Tianyang at the same time, their faces full of disbelief. Satisfied with the reaction of the two, Shi Tianyang smiled even more. At this moment, footsteps were heard outside the door. Then a figure appeared, a monk in a gray layman's robe. I saw his footsteps were frivolous, stepping on the cotton carpet without making a sound. Soon, he stood beside the 3 of them, clasped his hands together. Amitabha, I'm late, I hope you forgive me. Chapter 114 Taking the monk to visit the brothel. Thank you for thinking it out. Looking at the young monk in front of them, Hong Lin and Wang Wei were completely dumbfounded. They never imagined that the number one seed that Elder Qi had been hiding all along was actually this person. Monk Sanju grew up in a monastery in Shazhou City and was unknown. Until a year ago, 2 500-level random bosses spawned in the city center at the same time, and the city defense department couldn't react in time, and Shazhou City was greatly damaged. Fortunately, Sanju shot in time and killed the 2 monsters, which ended the disaster. Later, he became a hero in the hearts of Shazhou citizens. Many local guilds approached him and invited him to join the guild, but they were all rejected. Among them, there are many villains with evil intentions. After being rejected, they become angry and get entangled together. They ran to Sanju's monastery to make trouble. At that time, Sanju, who had just turned 6 at that time, relied on the advantage of hiding his profession to repel them all abruptly. Even many rank 8 masters were defeated by him, which is unbelievable. Being able to easily achieve low turn wins high turn. This is the charm of the hidden profession. The intensity is so high that it is abnormal. After that battle, Sanju disappeared and no longer appeared in people's sight. Until now, most Shazhou people don't even know what his occupation is, but they are very familiar with his story. Hong Lin and Wang Wei stood up, their eyes full of disbelief. Although Sanju was about the same age as them, in their hearts, Sanju was a hero who lived in legends. Although Chu Han also defeated a rank 8 powerhouse today, compared with Sanju's record, it was far behind. At the beginning, Sanju was besieged by countless strong men, and finally won a complete victory with one person's power. It can be said that he was a god in the first battle. Now that they have him as a teammate, Hong and Lin don't have any worries anymore. Well, are you confident now? Shi Tianyang sat leisurely on the sofa and asked with a smile. Only then did Hong Lin and Wang Wei come to their senses, and they nodded hastily. Yes, we will definitely win the spiritual church tomorrow. Confidence is like a powerful stimulant that can make people lose themselves. At this time, the 2 of them swept away their previous worries, and it seemed that the spiritual cultivation church was not so scary in their eyes at the moment. Shi Tianyang nodded in satisfaction, and turned his gaze to the little monk beside him. Sanju, everything depends on you. Tomorrow you will fight Chu Han and you must win. Sanju's face was peaceful, with the tranquility after being baptized by Buddha's light. He clasped his hands together and bowed slightly. A monk should have no greed or desire, and neither fight nor grab. The so-called victory and defeat have their own days, why force it? Shi Tianyang maintained a smile and took a sip of tea in a leisurely manner. As long as you can win the Lingshou Church, I will triple the original reward for you. Forehead. Hong Lin looked at Qi Tianyang in surprise. This monk Sanju had rejected many threats and lures back then, otherwise the battle of conferred gods with one enemy against 100 would not have happened. At this time, Elder Qi used money as a bait to let him contribute, which would anger him. How could Elder Qi make such a low-level mistake? Amitabha. Just as Hong Lin was about to open his mouth to smooth things over, Sanju lowered his head and said the Buddha's name. Afterwards, he raised his head, with excitement and greed shining in his eyes. Elder, don't worry, tomorrow, this little monk will kill them all. Hong Lin. After Sanju finished speaking, he turned and left. Only Hong Lin was left in a mess in the wind, with a big question mark appearing on his small head. Elder, why is this? After a long time, Hong Lin, who had recovered, sat down again, and asked Qi Tianyang in shock. Wang Wei also had an incredulous expression on his face. How could the noble and refined monk Sanju bow his head to the world? Qi Tianyang drank tea by himself, always smiling. After a while, he said, "Are you all curious about how such a gifted boy who was refined from other worlds fell?" Yeah. The two nodded frantically. Hong Lin said, "I heard from others that when the major guilds recruited Sanju, and someone even offered a high price of 500 million gold coins per year, he was not tempted. Now, how did it become like this?" Mentioning this, Qi Tianyang couldn't help being proud. Those people are too stupid. A monk who has been practicing hard in a monastery since he was a child has barely stepped into the monastery. What kind of concept can he have about money? Let's not say 500 million, even if it's 5 billion a year, he won't be moved, because at that time, he didn't realize what the money could bring him. So, it is impossible to move him with just money. Hearing this, Hong Lin and Wang Wei nodded, agreeing with this point of view. Then, Elder Qi, how did you do it? Qi Tianyang smiled. After that big battle, Sanju and the major guilds also turned their faces. Later I found him and took him to experience the happiness that money can bring, such as women. Seeing the stunned expressions of Hong Lin and Wang Wei, Qi Tianyang waved his hand. Hi. Actually, it's not that troublesome. I just took him to play in the Platinum Palace clubhouse for 2 nights, and this kid has completely degenerated. Hong Lin, Wang Wei and the two were stupefied, their faces dull. They didn't know whether to give Elder Qi a thumbs up or a middle finger. Take the monk to visit the kiln. Thank you for thinking it out. I have to say that Elder Qi of my own family is also a genius from a certain angle. Okay, you two don't think too much. In short, we are sure to win the #1 seed battle. You two can't hold back. Qi Tianyang's expression became serious, and he instructed the two of them. Speaking of business, Hong Lin Wang Wei quickly sat up straight. Anyway, with monk Sanju, their confidence has greatly increased. Don't worry, Elder, we will not let you down. Early the next morning, the Zhenwu Grand Ceremony was held as scheduled. In the square on the top of the mountain, countless people gathered. After all, it is an official competition of a commercial nature, and the scene must be full. The arena area was open, and the auditorium with a capacity of 50,000 people was full, and there was a sea of people. The biggest arena in the center acted as a temporary stage, and many first-line singers appeared one after another, pushing the atmosphere to a climax in an instant. Dozens of drones hang in the sky, recording every scene. An hour later, the opening ceremony ended. The lights were removed, and 5 leaders of the Central Committee of Longguo came forward and delivered a speech before the start of the Zhenwu Grand Ceremony. Subsequently, 3 senior officers of the Longwu Department also stood on the stage. In fact, the people who came to participate in the Zhenwu Grand Ceremony, apart from wanting to make a name for themselves, some also wanted to attract the attention of the officers of the Longwu Department. If you can use this to enter the Longwu Department, then you will be able to soar into the sky. Many contestants were divided into groups and surrounded by 4 small rings. Chu Han raised his eyes to look at the big arena in the center, but there was no one he knew. Soon, they all finished speaking and announced the start of the game. After that, referees walked into the 4 small arenas at the same time, preparing for the first round of group matches. Ni Chen glanced at his grandson, then looked at Chu Han worriedly, and said in a deep voice, "Get ready, we are the first match." At this time, several people came over. Qi Tianyang brought his 3 contestants and stood beside Ni Chen. With serious eyes but a smile on his lips, he said to Ni Chen, "Elder Ni, long time no see, are you all right?" Chapter 115 Opening Match, Spiritual Practice Church vs Phoenix Pavilion. Ni Chen squinted at the past and realized that it was Qi Tianyang who came, so his heart sank. Slightly nodding his head, his eyes were quickly attracted by a figure next to him. Monk Sanju's face was pale and he didn't seem to have woken up yet. Last night, in order to celebrate his victory in advance, he asked Qi Tianyang to arrange 2 young models for him. The 3 stayed up all night, seeking the true meaning of life together. Sanju's Buddha nature has developed greatly, and he planted the seeds full of Zen into the depths of his soul, completing a great harmony of life. Although his complexion was weak, Sanju stood in the crowd, bathed in the sun, as if he was wearing a bright Buddha light. Ni Chen couldn't help frowning. The mysterious hidden occupation registered in the Phoenix Pavilion seemed to be this person. This young monk has a calm demeanor, a restrained Buddhist spirit, and a kind of unfathomable incomprehension that does not match his age. It's just, what's going on with his erratic gaze, black eye sockets, and overworked face? Could it be that staying up late and chanting scriptures last night was too hard? Ni Chen couldn't help admiring him, and thought that if he had the opportunity in the future, he would definitely discuss Buddhism with him and go deep into the realm of bliss together. Why, Elder Ni is afraid. Shi Tianyang's voice sounded again, with a proud and provocative smile on the corner of his mouth. HMPH. Ni Chen snorted, you better take care of yourself, Wannian number 2. Mentioning the pain in his heart, Shi Tianyang gritted his teeth. Old thief, who are you calling the second child of 10,000 years? But Ni Chen sneered. What's the hurry? I didn't mention you, I said I can always do it myself. It's our spiritualism church that wins the second place in the group every time, and is firmly overwhelmed by your Phoenix Pavilion. Oh, our second child of 10,000 years really has no place to be ashamed. It's a shame to come to the competition again this year with an old face. Hearing Elder Ni's yin and yang aura, Chu Han and the others behind him couldn't help laughing. Shi Tianyang took a step forward, and just about to explode, he heard a bell ringing from above the main ring. Hong Zhong rang for a long time, attracting everyone's attention. There are 25 guilds in each group, and each guild counts the contestants, with an average of 5 or 6 people. There are only more than 100 people around this arena, which is not considered dense. However, around the entire arena area, the 50,000 spectators are almost full, and they can watch the 4 arenas at the same time. When the thick voice gradually dissipated, one person stepped onto each of the 4 small rings, and they were the referees of the 4 groups. The referee of the Zan character group is an old man with white beard. He stood in the center, looked around for a week, and then began to read. I am Jiyu Chongshan, the referee of the Xuanzi group, and I will announce the ring rules for this Zhenwu Grand Ceremony. First, don't be arrogant. The main purpose of this grand ceremony is to make friends with martial arts, and to discover young people who have great potential in our Dragon Kingdom and are worth cultivating. Therefore, when you compete, remember to stop at the end, and don't intentionally injure people. Second, imposters are not allowed. If it is found that the contestants in the arena do not match their real identities, they will be punished according to the laws of the Dragon Kingdom. The endless reading made the young people below feel drowsy, and Chu Han couldn't help yawning a few times. No matter in appearance or tone of speech, Jiyu Chongshan was too much like an old professor in the college, and the hypnotic effect was almost full. After an unknown amount of time, Jiyu Chongshan finally finished speaking and put away the manuscript in his hand. Next, I announce that the first round of the group match of the Xuanzi group will begin. In the first match, the Church of Spiritual Practice versus Phoenix Pavilion. After finally waiting for this moment, the atmosphere on the scene was rekindled. This opening match was full of topics. Whether the Church of Spiritual Practice continued to suppress the Phoenix Pavilion, or the Phoenix Pavilion counterattacked and killed the Big Revenge, many people couldn't wait to know the result. The eyes of the 50,000 spectators were almost all on the stage of the Xuanzi group. Besides several other rings, many players who were late in the schedule also approached. Even the 4 large screens floating above all cut the screen to this side. Of course, this only lasted for a dozen seconds. After all, the feelings of other competition groups had to be considered. Everyone, I'm going first. Juniper was gearing up and stood up full of fighting spirit. The seniors of the guild have trampled on the Phoenix Pavilion for several consecutive sessions, and have never lost to them in a single game. Thinking of this, Juniper's blood boils, and every cell in his body is full of fighting spirit. As his message appeared on the big screen, Juniper walked up. Stepping onto the ring with high-spirited steps, he immediately received thunderous applause and screams for his majestic appearance. Come on Juniper, come on, spiritual church, damn it, level 356 rank 7 Shirakujan, is this strength really just the 3rd seed? Nonsense, don't you even look where he came from. That's the spiritual cultivation church, can ordinary people come out? Who is going to fight in the Phoenix Pavilion? Why haven't you come up yet, are you scared? That's right, just surrender if you can't, anyway, you can't be the opponent of the spiritual church. On the other side, Wang Wei's face was gloomy. He is sensitive and has a strong self-esteem. Originally, at the beginning, he was a little timid, fearing that he would not be able to defeat the people of the spiritual church. But last night, he knew that his number 1 seed was actually Monk Sanju, which gave him great confidence. At this time, Wang Wei was offended by the audience's words again, and an unknown anger rose in Wang Wei's heart. When the cheers given to Juniper gradually faded, the big screen switched to Wang Wei's personal information. Shi Tianyang stood beside him and patted his shoulder. Go, don't let me down. Well, I won't lose, Shen Shen responded, and he told the elders as well as himself. Wang Wei is a rank 7 archer, a level 332 light ranger. Although they are both rank 7, Wang Wei's board strength is still a lot worse for Juniper. After all, it is only level 332, so it can be said that it is just a 7-rank goalkeeper. Against Juniper, his odds are really not high. Soon, the two separated from each other on the ring, showing their respective weapons. Stone chips flew, and Juniper smashed through the air with one blow. Even, in the gap between rolling and dodging, he can still make room to release his skills and counterattack. Start. Chu Han looked a little weird from below and didn't understand Juniper's tactic. Immediately, he stood up straight, and suddenly the brilliance flowed on the black battle axe. Following the referee's order, Juniper moved first, swung his battle axe and slashed down. Hearing this, Ni Chen shook his head. It's not good yet, let's take a look. Juniper was still the black battle axe, while in Wang Wei's hand, there was a metallic bow and crossbow. Boom. Drink. Then I will have fun with you. On the ring, Juniper held the battle axe in his hand, bent over and gasped heavily, my boy, you're quite nimble. He still does not use skills as before, and only relies on his own strength beyond ordinary people to make the most simple and unpretentious attacks. But after a few minutes passed, he did not cause any harm to Wang Wei, but he was scarred and lost a lot of blood. Wang Wei is an agility-type professional with strong skills, so avoiding this kind of attack with average speed is a piece of cake for him. Juniper slashed left and right, seemingly powerful and had the upper hand, crushing Wang Wei and running around the ring. Ni Li couldn't help breaking into a cold sweat. If this goes on, Juniper will be killed by the kite, and he won't be able to touch the other side at all. We won't lose the first battle, right? Chapter 116 The Holy Demon Tianyan and the Furious Shira Fight. As Juniper's tomahawk shone brightly, the audience shouted excitedly. To be honest, Juniper's extremely clumsy attack just now made them a little disappointed. People in the spiritual practice church shouldn't behave like this. According to the imagination of most of the audience, Juniper should beat his opponent as soon as he came on the court, so as not to live up to the prestige of the spiritual church. But now it's all right, Juniper is ready to show his strength and remobilize their emotions. Haha, sure enough, Juniper was just playing around in the beginning, but now he's going to do it for real. Record it quickly, I have a hunch that his skills will be very handsome. A group of spectators took out professional-grade video equipment and pointed the camera at the ring. Many of these people are bloggers who specialize in editing videos. They paid high prices to buy front-row tickets just to take clearer battle pictures. At the same time, the drones in midair also surrounded them and gathered at the edge of the ring to take pictures. In the opening match of the four groups, almost everyone's eyes were on the stage of the Xuanzi group. Hey. Juniper smiled triumphantly, and the brilliance of the battle axe in his hand overflowed, infecting his whole body. From a distance, he appears to be one with his weapon. Although the power of the skill is great, but I prefer to slash with an axe. This is like a battle between men. However, you are too difficult to deal with, so I have no choice but to compromise. Take it, Wang Wei, you have no chance of winning. TCH. Wang Wei didn't reply, but the corner of his mouth moved slightly, making a disdainful voice. In the short fight just now, he has almost figured out Juniper's attack method. Although it is a bit difficult to deal with, the opponent is by no means as powerful as I imagined. He also understands now that he was just intimidated by the name of the spiritual cultivation church before. After all, the other party and I are just newcomers who have just changed jobs. Even if there is a gap between Phoenix Pavilion and Sholing Church, it is only the gap between the guilds. Just looking at the contestants in the arena, the strengths are still very close. No, it should be, I am much stronger than him, Wang Wei sneered secretly. Although the level is slightly behind, the professional characteristics can completely make up for this gap. In addition, the old man on the other side doesn't seem to be very active. Wang Wei can almost believe that he will win this game. As long as the opponent's skills can be resolved, the battle can be said to have come to an end. Breathing slowly, he held his right wrist. In an instant, a faint silver light shines from the wrist, flickering slightly through the fingers. At this time, Juniper was also ready to make a move. He grasped the handle of the axe with both hands and placed it across his chest. With his proud body, he had the demeanor of an ancient general. Accept it. With a loud shout, Juniper swung his battle axe on the spot. The axe pierced through the space, throwing out a black air blade more than 10 meters high. The air blade was as thick as a tree trunk, and it shot away with majestic momentum. This is Juniper's skill. Shengmo Tianyan. You can let yourself enter the state of being possessed by a demon god, and every basic attack will be turned into an air blade, which is very powerful. Wang Wei was taken aback. Knowing that he couldn't resist, he quickly dodged sideways. The black air blade was extremely fast. Even if Wang Wei reacted quickly, he could barely dodge it. His movements were very embarrassing. Rolling half a circle on the ground, he half kneeled on the ground, his left hand still clutching his right wrist tightly. And the silver light that flowed through the fingers deepened a lot. Juniper missed a hit, but Juniper was not in a hurry. Hey, it was just a small trial just now, and the next thing is the main meal, drink. Cleaving down again, 3 stronger air blades were launched, attacking with stronger force. Wang Wei's pupils shrank slightly, and the reflection of the air blade in his pupils rapidly enlarged. It was approaching too fast, and there were 3 at the same time. In this case, it is impossible for him to dodge to the left and right. Even if his speed is maximized, it is still difficult to avoid the air blades on both sides. What to do? Hide up? No, that's even more impossible. Although with his own fitness level and professional characteristics, he can easily take off 15 or 16 meters in place. But it is the most stupid behavior to put yourself in the air without flying skills. Judging from Junsong's appearance, there is no CD for him to use the airblade. As long as the battle axe's divine light is immortal, he can strike at any time. If he takes the opportunity to attack with an airblade while falling in the air, he will become a living target and there is no way to avoid it. The other party's damage was unclear, and with Wang Wei's fragile body, he did not dare to take the risk. At the critical moment, Wang Wei's thoughts suddenly changed. It would only take 2 or 3 seconds for the airblade to arrive. He had to find a way out in this short time that could be ignored. At this moment, he suddenly discovered that when the 3 airblades struck, they also cut cracks on the floor of the arena. Moreover, the gap between the 3 cracks is gradually expanding as the airblade approaches him. That's right. Wang Wei was so happy that he turned around and ran back. If you guessed it correctly, these 3 airblades are showing a tendency to spread. As long as you extend the distance and make the gap between the airblades large enough, you can stand inside and avoid damage. Running to the edge of the ring in one breath, Wang Wei stood still on the edge of the protective barrier. You can't run any further. If you pass through the barrier, you will fall outside the ring, which is equivalent to admitting defeat. Turning around, 3 airblades followed like a shadow, arriving suddenly. As he had guessed, the gap between the airblades had grown from the width of a palm at the beginning to more than 1 meter. Wang Wei gritted his teeth, stepped sideways, and stood in the gap. Boom! 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 3 muffled sounds were heard as the airblade hit the protective barrier and was swallowed up, causing a few ripples without causing any damage. Wow! Everyone in the audience suddenly burst into exclamations. Some people expressed their dissatisfaction with Juniper. It was so difficult to deal with the 3rd seed of a third-rate guild. This is not the standard of the Shaolin Church. But more people are still amazed at Wang Wei's calmness in the face of danger, as well as his unexpected decision-making and courage. When everyone thought that he would be defeated by these 3 chi blades, he avoided the fatal blow in such a clever way. Even on the hanging screen, it was rare to give Wang Wei a close-up shot. At this time, Wang Wei was leaning against the protective barrier, and the brilliance was even more brilliant in the fingers of his wrists. Wait a little longer, and you can counterattack right away. Panting heavily, he took a quick glance at the battle panel. Although he dodged the blow just now, the aftermath of the airblades still caused more than 200,000 points of damage to himself. From this point of view, if he is hit head-on, his blood volume is really not optimistic. Maybe you will really be killed. Damn it, Shira Quangzhen, this should be a half-tank and half-damage class. Why is the damage so high? A few drops of sweat dripped from Wang Wei's forehead, and he took a few steps forward. Wang Wei, come on, come on. Suddenly, there were a few shouts from the audience, which turned out to be cheering for him. Wang Wei looked down in astonishment, and found that it was not a member of his guild, but a strange audience. Most people are like this. Although they worship the strong, they are more willing to see the blood and excitement of defeating the strong with the weak. At this time, Wang Wei's performance can be said to have perfectly hit their cool point. The sound of cheering echoed everywhere, and soon spread around the arena. When Juniper heard these voices, the smile on his face had long since disappeared. His skills were dispelled by the opponent twice in a row, and his face was quite dull. And now, the continuous effect of the holy demonic sky is almost over, and the battle must be ended as soon as possible. You like hiding, right? I'll see how you hide this time. Aha! Juniper roared wildly, the joints of his grip on the battle axe creaked, and his biceps bulged, almost ready to burst out of his clothes. The next moment, he raised his battle axe high, assumed a posture that would split the sky and split the earth, and then fell with a crash. The deafening sound that broke through the air made many audience members' eardrums sting. They hurriedly covered their ears, but were reluctant to look away. I saw 10 black air blades flashing out under Junipeng's hard chop. This time the air blade is more powerful, stronger and more terrifying. However, this is not over yet. Juniper clenched his teeth and let out a bloodthirsty roar from his throat. He swung the battle axe again, swung it suddenly, and struck out 10 more horizontal air blades, following closely behind. There are 10 horizontal and 10 vertical air blades, a total of 20 air blades, weaving a heaven and earth net, enveloping the breath of death and destruction. With the overwhelming momentum of Mount Tai, attack Wang Wei. Chapter 117 completed charging, dispel the holy crossbow. 20 powerful air blades seemed to cut off all sounds, causing the restless scene to fall into silence. Those people who were cheering for Wang Wei just now shut their mouths. Only those who came to shoot the video were extremely excited. The result of the game doesn't matter to them, as long as they play well. Juniper's unparalleled domineering move will definitely attract countless fans if put on a video website, and at the same time, it can also bring more profits to himself. 1. Under the ring, Ni Li couldn't help clapping his hands and cheering. He had been holding back a cold sweat before, but it was only now that he finally felt relieved. Juniper's strongest blow would probably be difficult to handle even if he went up to it. Not to mention Wang Wei, who is only level 332. With his fragile body, it is impossible for him to withstand being hit by one of the air blades. Ni Li couldn't help but clap his hands, his excitement was palpable. Ni Chen, who was beside him, looked calm and did not show any happiness. Instead, he was a little worried. He was always paying attention to Qi Tianyang not far away. The old guy looked calm from beginning to end, and seemed to have great confidence in this battle. However, can Wang Wei still solve this situation? By the way, this kid seems to have not fought back for a long time. What's going on? With doubts in his heart, Ni Chen returned his gaze to the ring. Wang Wei was still seen clenching his right wrist, and the silver brilliance became extremely shining, which had attracted the attention of some people. However, what they are more concerned about now is how Wang Wei will take over this dragnet. At this time, Wang Wei was still leaning against the protective barrier, with cold sweat pouring from his forehead. He glanced at the rapidly approaching black airblade and then at his wrist. Damn, this useless skill takes too long to charge. But it should be fast. As long as you dodge this blow, you will win. But these airblades are so dense, how can we hide? Wang Wei licked his lips and forced himself to calm down. Don't worry, there will definitely be a flaw. This old man is too brainless and not thoughtful enough to make it perfect. While adjusting his breathing, Wang Wei stared at the 20 airblades. In an instant, it seemed as if the entire world had disappeared. The ring, the referee, the audience, and even Juniper, who was fighting against him, were all swallowed up by the endless darkness. Between heaven and earth, there was only himself and the invading airblades. Where is the flaw? Time and space seemed to freeze, and the intersecting airblades were deeply imprinted in Wang Wei's eyes and mind. Listening to his breathing and heartbeat, Wang Wei suddenly discovered something. Boom! Reality flooded in, and everything came back into view. The auditorium became noisy again, cheering and shouting. In short, everyone was waiting for his move. Hey hey! A smile appeared on Wang Wei's lips. Facing the dragnet woven by the black airblade, his eyes were clear and he already had a countermeasure. Dragnet, right? There are holes in the net. If there is a hole, I can drill it. Bring it on. With a roar, Wang Wei unexpectedly rushed forward. This move made the audience even more surprised. Facing the airblade, he couldn't avoid it, so Wang Wei rushed over instead. Isn't this looking for death? Did he give up on himself? Do you want to rush in and end this competition without being tortured again? No, there was a protective barrier just behind Wang Wei. If you want to admit defeat, you can just take a few steps back and walk off the ring. Why rush in and get hurt? Did he want to lose heroically? There is only this explanation? Just when everyone was wondering and guessing, Wang Wei had already approached the Qi blade, and he was about to collide with it. Family, look, this guy is really crazy. An anchor under the stage held the video equipment for fear of missing any details. On the ring, Wang Wei approached the airblade net, and when he was about to be hit, he jumped up suddenly. Then, the fish jumped out. At that moment, Wang Wei's body was like a slippery loach, slipping through the gap between horizontal and vertical airblades. Off stage, seeing this scene, Ni Li's vision went dark, and he almost fell over while sitting on the chair. F***K. Viagra is awesome. What kind of operation is this? Are you from a circus? Ha ha ha, I just broke up. The comedy effect of this game is quite good. What's this trick called? A fish that slipped through the net. Stop laughing, look, Wang Wei is going to fight back. Hearing this voice, the audience once again held their breath and looked at the ring again. Wang Wei stood up slowly, although he looked a little embarrassed, but in the eyes of the audience, he seemed to have become more handsome. Check the damage panel. Just this time, I lost more than 500,000 HP. If it wasn't because he had to cover his right wrist when drilling the net, which affected his balance and wouldn't be touched too much by the aftermath, he wouldn't lose so much blood. However, with such an ending, he was also very satisfied. It's over, Juniper. Wang Wei took a few steps forward, and he saw that the giant axe in Juniper's hand had returned to normal. This shows that he can no longer chop out the airblade. However, this is not important anymore. Because of my own skills, I have already charged up. After speaking, Wang Wei let go of his left hand. In an instant, his right wrist radiated holy light, and a pure white crossbow arrow was formed, hanging on his right arm. Tier 6 skill. Dispel Holy Crossbow. Extremely strong single-target control skills, can knock the enemy tens of meters away, and have a paralyzing effect for 20 seconds. After talking with Elder Qi Tianyang last night, the other party gave him this skill book. Although this skill is not outstanding in actual combat, it can be called a divine skill in the group arena. The only shortcoming is that the charging time is too long, a full minute. If it is out of combat, it's okay, it only takes 5 seconds to charge up and complete. But there is no chance of getting out of the battle in the arena, so Wang Wei did not fight back for a minute, just to accumulate this skill. Moreover, there will be holy light radiating when he is charging, and he covers it with his hand very schemingly, so as not to attract the attention of the other party too early. Still, he overestimated Juniper. Immediately after finishing charging, the audience noticed that something was wrong with his right wrist, but Juniper didn't notice. End. Haha. Zhen walked up with a smile, watching Wang Wei raise his right arm and aim at his white light crossbow. You don't think you can kill me in seconds, do you? Hey, let me tell you, don't look at my high damage, but my frankness is higher. To tell you the truth, even if I stand here and come for you, you can't. Whoosh! Before he could finish speaking, the silver light crossbow on Wang Wei's arm suddenly shot out. Puff! The light crossbow hit the juniper and came out through the chest. Minus 967,218. A mere 960,000 damage is not high for Juniper, and he is not bragging about this. However, after the light crossbow passed through his chest, it didn't stop, but continued to fly backward with Juniper's body. Juniper wanted to struggle, but suddenly found that his body was paralyzed, he couldn't use any skills, and couldn't even move. After a while, he saw that he had been led by the light crossbow to the edge of the protective barrier. As long as you fall out of the barrier, no matter how much blood you have left, it will be considered a failure. At this moment, Juniper finally understood, I was careless. Chapter 118. The Second Battle, Blood Warrior vs. Shadow of Hell. The strong body was defeated by the power of the light crossbow. Juniper was unable to control himself and flew backwards. Boom! After knocking out of the protective barrier, Juniper fell to the ground and fell into the crowd of spectators, causing a small sensation. Fortunately, there were contestants from other guilds around the arena. The ordinary spectators were on the periphery, and their cameras could not capture Juniper's miserable appearance. Otherwise, it would be a big shame for him this time. But even so, the drone in midair had already recorded the scene, and boos continued to be heard from the audience. The dignified Sholing Church was defeated by its opponent in this way in the opening game. It can be said that Juniper has become a laughing stock. The three elders sitting in the audience, headed by Ni Chen, all had pale faces. It's not that they can't afford to lose, the main reason why Junsong loses today is Phoenix Pavilion, that third-rate guild that has been suppressed by our side every year. Especially Ni Chen, he could almost imagine what kind of proud expression Qi Tianyang would look like at this moment. If you are defeated by such a villain, it won't be long before he will definitely come in front of you and ridicule you. At that time, any rebuttal you may have will seem feeble. Just thinking about it makes me angry, of course. What worries Ni Chen even more is the battle for the #1 seed. He had just met the mysterious hidden professional in Phoenix Pavilion. He turned out to be a monk. Ni Chen is well informed and naturally knows the story of monk Sanju. It was precisely because he knew that Ni Chen felt really unsure. Chu Han's strength, although he also recognized it. But in the final analysis, judging from Chu Han's current performance, he cannot compare with the brilliant monk Sanju. This year's Zhenwu Grand Ceremony may be dangerous. At this moment, Ni Chen was ready to qualify as second in the group. Now, he only pins his hope on his grandson Ni Li, hoping that he can regain some ground in the next battle, at least not to let Sholing Church lose too ugly. If he was beaten 3-0, he would really have no shame in going back to see the president and the elder Shen Xingchen who didn't know where he was. Junior, are you alright? At this time, Ni Li had already stood up from his seat and ran to Juniper to help him. He was still more worried about his little brother's injury than winning or losing. After careful inspection, Ni Li breathed a sigh of relief. Juniper was not seriously injured. Hash plus hash equals. Although the light crossbow passed through the chest, it had disappeared at this time, leaving only a faint trace on the clothes. It's okay. Junsong stood up straight, waved his hands and said, looking at his indignant look, he seemed to be quite dissatisfied. If it weren't for the protective barrier blocking him, he really wanted to rush forward again and compete with that cunning boy. It's good that you're not injured. Ni Li grabbed Jun and patted the dust from his back. Beside the ring, Jiyu Chongshan, who was sitting on a high chair, saw Junsong standing up again and asked loudly. Contestant Juniper, are you feeling unwell? No. Hearing the referee's question, Junsong thought he still had a chance to play, so he immediately cheered up and responded, letting the referee know that he was still capable of fighting. It's better if you don't. Referee Jiyu Chongshan announced, the winner of this match has been decided, Phoenix Pavilion Wang Wei wins. Congratulations to Phoenix Pavilion for taking the lead and scoring a point. Please continue to work hard in the next games. In the second match, Ni Li from the Spiritual Cultivation Church is facing off against Hong Lin from the Phoenix Pavilion. Please join us. Hearing this, Juniper became impatient. Don't judge, give me another chance, I will definitely beat that kid. Stop talking. Ni Li covered Juniper's mouth and pushed him down on the seat. Juniper struggled to remember, while Ni Li put more force in his hand. I will avenge you, you sit here and watch. After speaking, he turned his head and looked at his grandfather. I saw Ni Chen also cast his gaze over, his eyes full of encouragement and pride. Ni Li nodded solemnly in response, then turned and walked towards the ring. Oh, Elder Ni, how does it feel to fail? At this time, a voice full of sarcasm came. Ni Chen didn't need to look, just by listening to the eccentric tone of voice, he knew that it was Qi Tianyang who came to mock him. Ni Chen's beard trembled, and he laughed twice. I said, Elder Qi, you just won a small game with us, and you can't wait to find your presence? Is this too urgent? Oh, that's right. After all, you really don't have many chances to beat us. If you miss this time, you won't know when the next time will be. Understand, Understand, people, the more you lack something, the more you need to show off. What did you ask me just now? How's the taste? Of course it's new. After all, we are not like you. Failure is a common occurrence. I guess you are already tired of this feeling? After being stunned by Ni Chen, the smile on Qi Tianyang's mouth disappeared instantly. HMPH, Ni Chen, you can also play tricks on your lips. Why, you dare not admit it when you were defeated? Is there anything you dare not admit? Ni Chen glared. I, the third seed of the Spiritual Cultivation Church, lost to Phoenix Pavilion today, so what? This old man is not like someone. Wanan's second child won't let people talk about it, and he's anxious to talk about it. Shameless thing. Qi Tianyang's eyes went dark, he only felt his head buzzing, and he no longer had the arrogant posture he had before. Originally, he wanted to use his victory in the first battle to come to Ni Chen to show off. On the one hand, it can vent the grievances suffered in the past years, and on the other hand, it can also increase the morale of one's own players. Unexpectedly, Ni Chen, who was the defeated party, not only did not lose any momentum, but became even more arrogant and yelled at himself. Qi Tianyang, who considered himself stupid, snorted coldly and sat back in his seat. After all, he also understands in his heart that this match is only a temporary victory, and it is not that simple to completely win the spiritual church. On the side, Chu Han half lied on the chair, with his arms behind his head, watching the two old men bickering with great interest. Elder Ni is still too soft-tempered. If it were old man Shen, Qi Tianyang's old teeth would probably have been knocked out. The old boy doesn't know where he ran away with the old lady. He won't hug a big fat boy when he comes back, will he? Thinking of Shen Xingchen, it seemed that he hadn't seen him for a long time, but Chu Han still missed him quite a bit. The strange old man appeared in front of him, and Chu Han smiled. At this time, the competition on the stage had already begun. On the ring, Ni Li and Hong Lin fought on both sides, looking at each other. Both of them want to see as much as possible from their opponents before the official start of the fight. Chu Han couldn't help becoming interested, and looked at the ring without moving his eyes. He turned out to be the same as himself, only rank 6. It wasn't like the first battle, where the information of the players from the Church of the Spiritual Cultivation was displayed first, and only after the cheers were earned, the information of the players from the Phoenix Pavilion was displayed. After winning the first battle in the Phoenix Pavilion and capturing a group of supporters, they immediately gave them enough respect. Occupation: Shadow of Hell, 6th rank assassin. Open black lens bracket level. 252 close black lens bracket, and this Hong Lin, who was able to become the second seed of the Phoenix Pavilion with a rank of 6, must have something on him. You must know that the contestants who can participate in the Zhenwu Grand Ceremony are basically the top talents in each city. The large screen above simultaneously displays the occupational information of the two. Ni Li is a blood-borne fighter of 371, which he has known for a long time. Those who are a little weaker will not be able to pass the audition at all. I have to say that the director's brain and vision are still very lively. At this time, the referee Ji Yu Chongshan confirmed the identities of the two opponents, and immediately shouted, "Start," but when he looked at Hong Lin, he was slightly surprised. Those who are qualified to enter the official competition, there will be no weaklings. Chu Han raised his head slightly and looked around. Open black lens bracket Hong Lin close black lens bracket chapter 119. The outcome is unpredictable. Ni Li's amazing performance. The atmosphere in the auditorium was once again high. Until now, the number of viewers in the official live broadcast room of Zhenwu Grand Ceremony has exceeded 5 billion. If the major live broadcast platforms at home and abroad are included, this number may be several times higher. After all, it is one of the most popular competitive games in the Dragon Kingdom, and the eyes of almost the whole world are staring at it. Young people represent the future of the country, and some foreign forces don't want to, and are even afraid that there will be some amazing and brilliant young geniuses in the Dragon Nation. However, the two contestants standing on the stage at this time did not think too much in their hearts. Both Ni Li and Hong Lin had pure thoughts, they just wanted to win this game. When the referee shouted, "Start," the two stalemate for a while, and Hong Lin took the lead to act. He took the game extremely seriously and was more eager to win than anyone else. Ghostblade. With a light drink, Hong Lin threw out the diamond-shaped dagger in his hand, drawing a black streamer. At the same time, his figure exploded, and he rushed straight to Ni Li at a speed not weaker than that of a flying knife. What a fast speed! Seeing this situation, Ni Li couldn't help but admire, but it's useless. Soul-suppressing killing fist. The weapon Ni Li used was a level 350 spirit weapon, the Destroyer's Gauntlet. I saw him pulling away, raising his right arm slightly, and then punching forward suddenly. Boom! The space in front of him seemed to be shattered, with cracks appearing like cobwebs. This skill has a wide range and strong control, and those who are recruited will fall into a dizzy state. Ni Li originally wanted to use this skill to fight first. As long as he controlled the opponent, the next battle would be much easier. Hong Lin is just an assassin with a fragile body, so it is not difficult to kill him. Crackling. There was a crackling sound in the air, and immediately after that, The black flying blade that shot rapidly seemed to hit an extremely hard metal wall, bounced off with a ding, and fell to the ground. Hey, I said it's useless. Ni Li smiled triumphantly, then moved his eyes to Hong Lin. However, behind the flying blade, Hong Lin, who followed closely, has long since disappeared. Disappeared? Ni Li was startled and hurriedly looked around. But on the entire ring, he was the only one left. How could he see Hong Lin? Hey, where did that buddy go? Why did he disappear without paying attention? I don't know, I didn't see clearly. He won't be punched by Ni Li for a second, right? But he hasn't been teleported out of the ring either. What are you thinking? The punch just now didn't hit Hong Lin at all. I guess he is invisible. After all, he is an assassin. In the auditorium below, there were also bursts of doubtful discussions. No one could clearly see where the 6th-rank assassin of the Phoenix Pavilion went. In the first row around the arena, Chu Han still maintained a half-lying posture, looking at the top of the arena with burning eyes. Out of curiosity about Hong Lin, Chu Han has kept his eyes on this man ever since he took the stage. He wanted to figure out what special skill Hong Lin had in order to be able to enter the main match of the Zhenwu Grand Ceremony with the strength of the 6th rank just like himself. Those who are too weak basically all died in the audition. Those who can enter the race are the best among their peers. The Wang Wei in the previous game, as a goalkeeper who has just stepped into the rank 7 realm, is almost considered the lowest level, so he can only be the 3rd seed. Unexpectedly, their number 2 seed turned out to be of a lower rank, only rank 6. If such a person is placed outside, he must be a perverted figure. Chu Han was most interested in perverts, so he paid special attention to Hong Lin. He saw that at the moment Hong Lin disappeared, his body froze for a moment, and a phantom appeared. This scene is very similar to one of his opponents back then, the Sakura Devil who pretended to be the president of the Assassin League, Mikami Yoda. That guy's profession is a ninja, which is similar to that of an assassin in Dragon Kingdom. If I guessed right, Hong Lin should have used the clone skill, and there is more than one Hong Lin on the field now. In order to confirm his thoughts, Chu Han stared at the stage closely, not wanting to miss any details. At this time, on the stage, when he found that his opponent had disappeared, Ni Li panicked for a moment, but immediately calmed down. In any case, Hong Lin is only a rank 6 assassin, it is impossible to instantly kill himself. Based on his combat experience, assassins like to go around behind their opponents for backstabs. So, pay extra attention behind you. Ni Li raised his senses to the extreme and slowed down his breathing, trying to feel the changes around him. Soon, whoosh! There was the sound of breaking wind, and a chill rose from Ni Li's back. He turned around almost instinctively, then stepped back and raised his left arm to block. Ding! The blade hit the glove, making a harsh sound of metal colliding. At the same time, a figure slowly appeared. It was Hong Lin who had just disappeared. Judging by his body posture, he slashed the knife from midair, but was blocked by Ni Li, who reacted quickly. Appeared. Damn it, what a quick reaction, Ni Li actually blocked the knife. That's awesome. As a warrior class, he has such a keen sense of smell on the battlefield. He deserves to be the 2nd seed of the Spiritual Cultivation Church. Haha. The Phoenix Pavilion is about to suffer. I don't know what to think if I dare to use a rank 6 player as the 2nd seed. I think the Phoenix Pavilion was anxious to lose a few years ago, so this year I use the strongest player as the 3rd seed to fight against the weakest player in the Spiritual Cultivation Church, just to win a game and look good. TNG's horse racing is not used in this way. Alas, the Phoenix Pavilion has no chance of winning. Ni Li's astonishing performance just now can be said to have directly blown up the scene. Being able to predict the danger and block Hong Lin's full strength attack in his invisible state is something that no one can do. Ni Chen's expression also relaxed, showing a satisfied and proud smile. He turned his head slightly, and took a peek at Qi Tianyang, who was not far away. I saw that damn old man drinking tea leisurely without any expression change on his face. Snort. Ni Chen touched his nose, then turned his gaze back to the ring. As for Qi Tianyang, he had already noticed Ni Chen's gaze. His calm and composed appearance was deliberately shown to Ni Chen for the purpose of angering him. But having said that, Qi Tianyang is indeed no longer worried about today's battle. After all, Wang Wei had already won the game and scored a point first. Even if Hong Lin loses to Ni Li, the Church of Sholing can only get 2 points. In the final number 1 seed battle, he had 100% confidence in Monk Sanju's victory, and if he scored 3 points at that time, Phoenix Pavilion would still win. What's more, Hong Lin doesn't necessarily lose yet. Thinking of this, Qi Tianyang felt even more proud, and the scented tea in his hand seemed to be even more fragrant. On the other side, Chu Han looked at the situation on the stage with a slightly dignified expression. When the person who attacked Ni Li appeared, he guessed that this was not the real Hong Lin. In order to confirm whether he guessed right, he deliberately used the Bai Zi heart to check. Sure enough, the information fed back by Bai Zeji's heart. The Hong Lin that everyone can see in front of him is just a clone. The real Hong Lin is already in a state of invisibility, hiding in the dark. Chapter 120. Don't be too arrogant, be careful of pretending to be struck by lightning. Haha, I got caught. On the ring, Ni Li blocked Hong Lin's fatal blow, feeling extremely proud. But Hong Lin remained expressionless, withdrew his dagger and backed away. Want to run? Ni Li knew that the opponent was agile and would be invisible. If he was allowed to distance himself, the next battle would be even more difficult. After all, he had a part of gambling in the block just now. If he did it all over again, he wasn't sure that he would be able to block it every time. Ni Li once received special training, which raised his sensory system to a very high level, comparable to a beast running through the jungle. Therefore, he has a certain ability to perceive some potential dangers and enemies hidden in the dark. However, this ability cannot be used every time in actual combat, and there are often times of misjudgment. Therefore, Ni Li didn't want to give him a chance to slip away, so he hurriedly leaned forward and clung to Hong Lin tightly. Don't try to stay invisible anymore, I won't give you another chance, try my fist. Ni Li tried to disrupt the other party's rhythm with words, but no matter what he said, the other party always had a flat expression. Hong Lin's figure slid left and right, and he completed every movement mechanically, trying to distance himself from Ni Li. Snort. Seeing that he completely ignored his words, Ni Li couldn't help feeling angry. Burst punch. The glove of his right hand lit up, and after a short charge, his body suddenly accelerated, blasting out like a cannonball. Boom. Minus 105,731 in one punch, Hong Lin was thrown flying more than 10 meters. If the ring was not big enough, he would have been knocked off the stage with this punch. And Ni Li stood there, seemingly dumbfounded. He stared blankly at his fist, his face full of disbelief. The punch just now. Was obviously a solid blow, but why is the damage so low? The other side is an assassin, whose body can be said to be very fragile, why didn't he deal high damage? It's F***king unscientific. Ni Li was shocked and furious, this was the first time he encountered such a situation. In normal battles, he would at most encounter enemies with too high agility, and his skills would not be able to hit them. Because most of his abilities require charging, which is annoying. However, if you are hit by yourself, the damage will definitely explode. But this time, the damage value of just a little over 100,000 was like a nail that pierced Ni Li's eyes fiercely, making him extremely ashamed and indignant. Come again. Unable to accept the reality, Ni Li gathered his strength again and rushed towards Hong Lin. This move, Raging Dragon Roaring, is extremely powerful, highlighting a rampage. Huh? Don't hide. When the attack came, Ni Li suddenly noticed that Hong Lin on the opposite side didn't hide or evade, and just stood there with a blank expression, as if he didn't pay attention to his attack at all. To be so defiant, courting death, Ni Li became even more furious, but at this moment, a chill suddenly rose, like a cold poisonous snake crawling across his back. There are people behind. Startled in a cold sweat, Ni Li suddenly turned around. He forcibly reversed the punch that was originally aimed at Hong Lin in front, and the terrifying impact was directly blasted out. Boom. The wind of the fist roared, with an aura of earth-shattering. Just like that, it was thrown into the air by Ni Li, without hitting any target. And this move directly made all the audience look at each other in blank dismay. What's going on? What's Ni Li doing? Isn't Hong Lin in front of him? Why did he turn around and hit the back? What kind of route is this? I don't know, could it be that he was blinded? But he didn't see Hong Lin move either? It's really weird. The contestants of the Spiritual Practice Church this year are all weird. Alas, is the legendary guild going to be lonely after all? Brother, don't say that. There is still a battle for the #1 seed. Maybe the Spiritual Church can get back 3 points and draw with the Phoenix Pavilion. I'm afraid you don't know to tell you that the #1 seed of the Phoenix Pavilion this year is the legendary monk Sanju. The Spiritual Cultivation Church has no chance of winning. What, Sanju? There is such a thing. Everyone was eloquent, almost no longer had any expectations for this game. After all, Ni Li's performance up to this point really didn't have any bright spots. On the ring, Ni Li was panting heavily, looking at the empty ring in front of him, terrified. That feeling. Is it wrong? Just now, he sensed the danger approaching, as if walking in the deep mountains and old forests, there was a beast-like murderous aura coming from behind. The murderous aura is as real as it is, almost piercing into the body. That's why he turned around without hesitation, reversed his attack, and hid behind him. But, why is there nothing? Is it really an illusion? Ni Li couldn't help but start to wonder, was it because his nerves were too tense? In an instant, murderous intent struck again. Ni Li turned around suddenly, and Hong Lin had already appeared in front of him. Boom. The dagger raised high fell, directly shattering the breastplate. Minus 48,731 minus 473,581 2 levels of damage, one high and one low, floated up, and Ni Li fell on his back, annoyed and regretful. Hong Lin was clearly right in front of him just now, so why did he still believe in that mysterious sixth sense? There will be no third party in this arena, so how could there be someone behind it? It's really stupid. Boom! As Ni Li's body fell to the ground, a burst of cheers and applause broke out from the audience. Ni Chen put his hands on his chest and looked at the battle on the ring with a gloomy expression. Based on his vision and experience, he has concluded that Han Lin who appeared in his field of vision at this time is just a clone. Just now, Ni Li's judgment was absolutely correct. At that time, the real Han Lin should have launched an attack from behind, so he was aware of it. However, Ni Li's skill movements were still too slow and could not keep up with the opponent's speed, so he missed the target. If Ni Li loses this battle, it will be because of his combat experience and speed. At this time, Ni Li on the stage had completely lost his way and was being played around by two Han Lins, one in the dark and the other in the dark. Ni Chen looked at this scene and sighed secretly. Even if he saw through the opponent's tricks, he could not open his mouth to guide his grandson during the battle. I'm afraid I have to admit defeat in this battle. Ni Chen's heart was extremely heavy. He originally thought that Du Song and Ni Li could successfully win the battle, so that even if Chu Han lost to Sanzu, he could still draw a tie with Phoenix Pavilion, so that the loss would not be too ugly. But now, the situation has developed like this, and Ni Chen cannot accept it for a while. The Sholing Church has never encountered such a dilemma since it began to participate in the Zhenwu Grand Ceremony. They had lost 2 games in a row, and there was not much hope for the 3rd game. It wasn't that he didn't believe in Chu Han's strength, it was mainly because Ni Chen really couldn't have any confidence in facing Monk Sanju. Hey, the first round of the group stage ended like this, what should we do next? Ni Chen was suffering from a headache. Sitting in the crowd, he was even a little short of breath and his mind was in a mess. At this time, Ni Li's defeat was only a matter of time, and he didn't want to watch it anymore. Standing up, Ni Chen wanted to find a quiet place and think about how to deal with the next match. Hey, Elder Ni, the game is not over yet, where are you going? Before taking 2 steps, a figure stood in front of Ni Chen. There is no doubt that the person coming is Qi Tianyang. I saw his face full of complacency, and the corners of his mouth couldn't stop rising. Before Wang Wei defeated Juniper, he wanted to suppress Ni Chen, but he was so angry that he was speechless. Now that Ni Chen's grandson is about to lose, Qi Tianyang will naturally not let go of such a good opportunity. Elder Ni, you can't bear to see your grandson defeated with your own eyes, can you? Hey, I don't even have the ability to accept this, it's really weak. But it's not surprising. With your soft-ass grandpa, you will naturally cultivate such a soft-ass grandson. It's a family inheritance, ha ha ha. Facing Qi Tianyang's sarcasm, Ni Chen was furious. But he is really not in the mood to bicker now, after all. He has already lost, and it seems futile to say anything else. Closing his eyes, Ni Chen decided to endure this time. He continued to walk, trying to bypass Qi Tianyang. However, the other party wrapped around him like a dogskin plaster and continued to block the way. What do you want to do? Ni Chen asked in a deep voice. Nothing. Qi Tianyang sneered. I just want to ask Elder Ni to watch this battle and take a closer look at how the good grandson you trained was defeated by us. You. Ni Chen clenched his fists and wanted to refute but had nothing to say. Hello. At this moment, a voice came from the side. I saw Chu Han lazily lying on the chair and said without looking back. Old man, don't be too arrogant, or you may be struck by lightning if you show off. Chapter 121 I don't lose if I lose, I don't need to kowtow anyway. What did you say? Hearing someone speak so disrespectfully to him, Qi Tianyang was furious immediately. Ni Chen couldn't help but glance at Chu Han. He is a stickler. In his mind, even if he had any conflicts with Qi Tianyang, it would never be Chu Han's turn to intervene, or even insult him. After all, Chu Han is just a junior. In normal times, he would definitely teach Chu Han a lesson and criticize him for breaking the rules. However, at this moment, Qi Tianyang's face was too disgusting. Not only did Ni Chen not stop Chu Han, but he expected him to step up his efforts and scold him more. Chu Han turned around slowly, and looked up at the furious Qi Tianyang. I said you old thing, isn't it a bit too tasteless? Our spiritual practice church has won you so many times, and we have never said anything mocking or demeaning, right? Why, you just won 2 small rounds and you can't hold back anymore, it's as if you haven't won before. Oh yes, I remembered, you really haven't won. Listening to Chu Han's words, Qi Tianyang's eyes were sharp, and he tried his best to restrain the urge to make a move. To him, Chu Han was just a brat, and if he did it himself, it would indeed be a bit of a drop in price. What's more, Ni Chen was still at the side. If he took the initiative to teach Chu Han a lesson, he would not stand by and watch. HMPH, the brat is quite eloquent, very powerful. However, the old man teaches you a truth, that is, a good man doesn't mention his bravery in the past. The past achievements of the spiritual training church are nothing but a fig leaf to you at this moment. In this competition, no matter how brilliant you were, our Phoenix Pavilion made you lose so badly. Chu Han smiled indifferently. You were brave back then. No. I don't bother to mention that, and it has nothing to do with me. What I want to tell you is this year's battle. You don't really think that Ni Li lost today because of his strength, do you? Believe it or not, when we meet again in the 2nd round of the group stage, Ni Li will torture Han Lin to death. Qi Tianyang laughed back in anger. Boy, are you kidding me? Hearing this, even Ni Chen was a little surprised, and wanted to stop Chu Han from blowing it up. But Chu Han's expression was still full of disdain and provocation. If you have the guts, let's take a gamble. That's exactly what I mean, Chi Tianyang responded immediately. Boy, what do you want to bet on? Although he asked this question out of his mouth, Chi Tianyang made up his mind that if Chu Han's bet was too low, he would increase his bet. Hearing this, Chu Han rolled his eyes and immediately came up with an idea. Immediately he said with a smile, Old man Chi, don't you always take our elder Ni as a thorn in your side? Then I will give you a chance. Our next match between Ni Li and Hong Lin is a gamble. If Hong Lin wins, our elder Ni will kowtow 10 times to you, and call grandpa while kowtow. How about it? Of course, if the result is the opposite, then you give us elder Ni a knock. Ha ha ha, good. You've put elder Ni on the line. Could it be that you have a grudge? Ha ha. Chi Tianyang clapped his hands with a smile, and accepted the gamble without hesitation. Ni Chen's expression changed drastically, and he looked at Chu Han in shock. At the same time, he began to think in his heart, when did he offend this brat, and it was worth his revenge like this. Chi Tianyang felt even more proud when he noticed Ni Chen's reaction. He was afraid that the other party would go back on his word, so he hurriedly asked, Elder Ni, a gentleman's words are hard to follow. You won't go back on the gamble proposed by your spiritual practice church, will you? He specifically explained that this was a gamble proposed by the cultivation of spirituality, not by Chu Han, in order to silence Ni Chen. On the stage at this time, Ni Li was getting killed and retreated steadily. If he hadn't had enough blood, he might have been defeated and out of the game long ago, but now it seems that this is only a matter of time. Therefore, Chi Tianyang is fully confident that he can win this bet. When Ni Chen was asked such a question by Chi Tianyang, he was framed here, and there was no way to push him away. He looked at Chu Han, who was full of confidence, and Chi Tianyang, who was full of confidence. His back molars were almost gnawed. No solution anymore. If you reject the gamble now, it is tantamount to admitting defeat on the spot. In that case, they would be ashamed to continue fighting in the next match. Okay, I agree, don't deny it when the time comes. It's a deal. Chi Tianyang laughed, and began to look forward to the second round of the group stage. The outcome of the second match has been divided. Phoenix Pavilion Hong Lin wins. At this moment, referee Ji Yu Chongshan's verdict suddenly came from the stage. Ni Chen looked towards the ring and saw that only Hong Lin was left alone, while Ni Li was teleported to the bottom of the ring and was already defeated. Elder Ni, let's see you in the next round. Chi Tianyang's smile became even stronger and he turned back to his camp. Ni Li walked over in disgrace and stood in front of his grandfather, looking a little downcast. The battle that he was originally full of confidence was defeated like this, and the arrogant Ni Li couldn't accept it. Especially when I think of the seniors of the Sholing Church who have never lost a single battle against the Phoenix Pavilion. As for himself and Juniper, they lost 2 games in a row in the opening game, which really embarrassed the seniors. Grandpa, I've embarrassed you. Ni Li's face was burning, and he choked out a few words in a voice as soft as a mosquito. Ni Chen sighed and patted his grandson on the shoulder. He knew Ni Li's temperament and knew that he would feel uncomfortable after his defeat, so naturally he couldn't bear to blame him. There's no reason. I just can't stand the old man's arrogance, it's really annoying. So he was curious, where did Chu Han get the confidence and courage to bet with Chi Tianyang? To be honest, the strength gap between Ni Li and Hong Lin is already obvious. It doesn't matter. Chu Han chuckled. This reignited some of his dead fighting spirit. So I just made some nonsense to weaken his arrogance. Chu Han nodded matter-of-factly. With his current strength, it's really not easy to win. Chu Han, why do you think Ni Li will win in the next game? Meeting the curious eyes of his grandfather and grandson, Chu Han smiled slightly, then shrugged. When Ni Li heard his grandfather's words, he also looked at Chu Han with confusion. Ni Chen. After getting this answer, Ni Chen collapsed completely. Then you still dare to bet with others, what if you lose? Although the two of them had turned 7 and one had turned 6, Hong Lin was much better than Ni Li in terms of combat experience and fighting style. Although he didn't know that bet existed, but based on his grandfather's words, Chu Han thought he would win the next match against Hong Lin. After whispering a few words of comfort, Ni Chen turned to look at Chu Han. What do you mean, so you don't think Ni Li will win the next game? Even as his own grandfather, Ni Chen didn't think Ni Li had a chance of winning in the next match. It's not a loss for me if I lose. Anyway, I don't have to kowtow and call grandpa. Chapter 122 The highly anticipated, Chu Han vs Sanju. Ni Chen was completely confused. His eyes were filled with resentment, and he gritted his teeth and stared at Chu Han for a long time. I seem to understand now why Shen Xingchen accepted you as his apprentice. You two masters and apprentices are so virtuous, and you both deserve a beating. In fact, when Ni Chen made this evaluation, he wanted to bring Yao Shengyu with him. In his eyes, the 3 generations of master and apprentice were all the same. However, as an elder of the guild, it is still inconvenient to speak rudely to the president, so I can only avoid it deliberately. Chu Han didn't care much and still smiled heartlessly. You're just kidding. Why are you so serious? He stood up and moved around. Don't worry, I have a way. When today's game is over, give Ni Li to me for special training. Next time he fights Phoenix Pavilion, I will ensure that he beats Hong Lin. After hearing this, Ni Chen and his grandson Ni Li looked at each other with confusion and helplessness in their eyes, as if they had heard a fantasy. If Chu Han said that he could defeat Hong Lin, then absolutely no one would doubt it. After all, in the battle room within the Sholing Church, Chu Han single-handedly defeated more than 100 opponents, including many cadre-level experts. Although it was not a life-and-death battle, there was no doubt about Chu Han's strength to be able to reach this point. However, at this moment, he patted his chest and promised that he could greatly increase Ni Li's strength and defeat Hong Lin, who was unable to fight back today. How can this be? As an elder of the spiritual cultivating church, Ni Chen is already close to the 9th level of strength, but he doesn't think he has such ability. Judging from today's battle, the gap between Ni Li and Hong Lin is more than just a tiny bit. In order for Ni Li to turn defeat into victory, he must at least break through the 7th level. After reaching the 8th rank, he can crush Hong Lin based on his attribute values alone. Those fancy skills and routines will not have such great suppression on Ni Li. However, there are only a few days left until the second round of the group stage. In such a short period of time, it is an impossible task for Ni Li, who is level 371, to reach rank 8. Not to mention that there is not enough time to upgrade. Even if the level is enough, the job transfer certificate is nowhere to be found. So Ni Chen couldn't figure out what nonsense Chu Han was talking about. Did he want to comfort himself? Ni Chen smiled bitterly. But looking at this kid's confident look, it doesn't look like he's talking big. It's really unpredictable. In the third game, Chu Han from the Spiritual Cultivating Church will face off against Phoenix Pavilion Sanju. Players from both sides are invited to come on stage. At this time, referee Ji Yu Chongshan's voice came. The third match, the much-anticipated battle for the number 1 seed, was about to begin. More than an hour has passed since the game started. Some of those whose strength gap was too big had already finished the game, and then they all gathered around. In today's opening match, the most popular topic is the Xuanzi group. On all major media platforms, as long as there is news about the Zhenwu Grand Ceremony, almost all of them use the title of Sholing Church versus Phoenix Pavilion. Especially the number 1 seeds on both sides. One is the guardian of Zhongling City who worshipped the protector god Fa Shen Xingchen and defeated the old evil god Chu Han, a young hero who became famous just after graduation. The other one is a more legendary young monk, Monk Sanju. He once defeated 2 level 500 random bosses with one person, and protected thousands of citizens in Shazhou City. Later, in the Battle of the Gods, he defeated countless masters through his own strength and shocked the world. Today's battle, who can win, can be said to affect the hearts of countless people. The excitement of this opening game is comparable to previous finals. Go, Chu Han, don't worry about other things for now, get rid of distracting thoughts and show your strength. The face of the Spiritual Cultivation Church needs this battle to restore it. Ni Chen patted Chu Han on the shoulder, encouraging him while also putting some pressure on him appropriately. He could see that although Chu Han was usually carefree, he had a sense of arrogance in him. Appropriate pressure could make him more motivated. Nodding, Chu Han walked onto the ring. On the floating screen above, information about both sides of the battle has appeared. Open black lens bracket Chu Han close black lens bracket, level 240, occupation Venerable Tianxing, 6th transformation mage. Open black lens bracket Sanju close black lens bracket open black lens bracket level 430 close black lens bracket, occupation Jalan Arit, 8th rank. Because it is a hidden profession, Sanju's professional title has always been Galan Arit, and he does not have a basic profession like ordinary people. One level 240, one level 430. The level gap between the two is too big. How can we fight? In the auditorium, many people raised questions, and barrages full of doubts floated across the major live broadcast rooms. Could it be that this Chu Han is also a rare soldier? Otherwise, there is no reason for the Spiritual Cultivation Church to make him the number 1 seed. It's very possible. I checked the information. This brother killed an old evil god when he just changed his job. It's awesome. That's right. I've also heard that this Chu Han is a ruthless character. The captain of the Royal Knights made trouble for him before, so he taught him a lesson. Even so, compared to Monk Sanju, it's still far behind, right? Well, he has no chance of winning. It is reasonable to say that Chu Han is already very strong, but it is a pity that he met Sanju. This person is a genius at the bug level. In this true martial arts ceremony, no one is likely to be his opponent. What's going on in the Phoenix Pavilion? It's able to pull this kind of person into the guild. This year's champion must be him. Amidst the expectations and discussions of the crowd, the figure of Monk Sanju appeared and stepped onto the ring with flamboyant steps. Their eyes met, and both of them were waiting for the referee's voice. At the same time, Gangyang City, the huge trial square was once again crowded with people. The building facilities that were destroyed by the Dark Dragon at the beginning have already been restored, even more refined and advanced than before. After all, Chu Han became famous that time and attracted many investors, and everyone rushed to repair the ruins. Now that the Zhenwu Grand Ceremony is being held, and the government broadcasts the match live, countless citizens come here to cheer for the former city heroes. The picture on the big screen is facing the arena of the Xuanzi group. Chu Han and Sanju are standing opposite each other. Come on, Chu Han, come on. I don't know who yelled first, and then there was a tidal wave of shouts. Countless people were full of enthusiasm and cheered for Chu Han from the air. Come on. Chu Han. In front of the crowd, Shen Xinling sat in the first row, her bare hands clasped nervously on her chest, her eyes fixed on the live video. Don't worry, everyone, I know Chu Han, he's definitely fine. A fat man with fair skin was holding a chicken drumstick in his hand and gnawed on it. It was Du Kai who had transferred to the temple. Next to it, there was a girl who was surrounded by many bodyguards, looking at the big screen with the same complicated expression. In Qin Yi's mind, images of the time when he and Chu Han explored the secret realm together kept reappearing, and he couldn't help but feel melancholy. She tightly held her own weapon, the blade of Lingyue. Although this level 25 golden dagger was no longer suitable for his current level, Qin Yi never threw it away. Come on. She moved her pretty lips slightly and said softly. Return to the sea area. The orange luxury yacht wanders in the blue sea and sky, full of joyful freedom. Shen Xingchen, who was wearing a beach suit, slumped comfortably on the deck chair. In front of him was a virtual split screen. The left half was the live broadcast of the Zhenwu Grand Ceremony, and the right half was the old face of Yao Shengyu, who was in a video call with his old mentor. Upon receiving a response from the cabin, Shen Xingchen smiled contentedly. No, let's wait for Chu Han to finish the Zhenwu Grand Ceremony. On the screen, Yao Shengyu did not hide the disdain in his eyes. Little Wabao, quickly change it to tequila for me, and don't forget to exchange it with Erguodo. Shen Xingchen didn't care about being taught a few words by the teacher, he was used to it anyway. Damn it, it would be even better if you don't expose people. By the way, teacher, have you notified Chu Han to take over my position? I don't know if this kid can surprise us. Bah, what is this thing? It's not as good as horse urine. Even if I really quit, I won't be like you, just wasting my life. Stop laughing, look at the live broadcast, that monk Sanju has made a move. As he spoke, he moved the parasol towards the top of his head. Shen Xingchen took off his sunglasses, and took a sip of chilled rum accompanied by the sea breeze. Ha ha ha. Shen Xingchen couldn't help laughing loudly, and slapped the armrest of the reclining chair. Teacher, I advise you to hurry up and abdicate, and enjoy life like me as soon as possible. Look how beautiful the sun is on the sea. And at this moment, Yao Shengyu's voice continued. Yao Shengyu hummed, and said, I am the president and I have the final say, and whoever disagrees with it can get out. Shen Xingchen stroked his beard. Are you sure you can convince the other elders? Chapter 123 3, 2, 1, Dai, Guling Mountain, the arena of the Xuanzi group. The huge place that accommodated tens of thousands of people was so quiet at this moment that no sound could be heard. Everyone held their breaths and watched the movements of the two on the ring. The battle for the #1 seed between Sholing Church and Phoenix Pavilion can be said to be the most valuable match today. This battle alone is worth the fare. Everyone in the auditorium opened their eyes wide, for fear of missing any details. Look, Sanju made the first move, on the ring. After Chu Han and Sanju had a stalemate for a while, Sanju made the first move under the order of the referee. The plain and old gray layman's uniform is airless. Sanju's eyes shone with ferocity and violence that did not match the monasticism, like a demon monk who was haunted by evil spirits and fell into the devil's way. His originally somewhat vain footsteps suddenly became heavy, and he crossed his hands in front of his chest, and immediately flew into the air. His jumping ability, which was different from ordinary people, made him jump into the air in an instant, and rushed towards Chu Han with a fierce face. Phaseless tribulation finger, puff, puff, 2 golden Buddha lights as sharp as divine swords shot out from his 2 index fingers. The golden light was like a swimming dragon, with a terrifying momentum, and with a sonorous buzzing sound, it shot straight at the place where Chu Han was. Wow, there was a burst of amazement in the auditorium. The golden light was as bright as the scorching sun, flashing across people's sights, and even leaving a hot burning sensation on their eyeballs. Sitting in the first row, Shi Tianyang squinted his eyes, and the corners of his mouth could not help but rise. Sanju. He really doesn't show any affection at all, he's so ruthless. I'm afraid this move will directly determine the outcome, Shi Tianyang hid in the dark during Sanju's battle of the conferred gods, and saw with his own eyes that Sanju used this skill to seriously injure 3 rank 8 powerhouses. If it wasn't for the fact that Sanju's level was too low at that time, I'm afraid he would have been instantly killed. Now against Chu Han, he used this move, it seemed that he didn't want to get entangled. That's fine, let everyone see clearly the current strength of my Phoenix Pavilion. This year's champion is none other than me. Thinking of this in his heart, Shi Tianyang couldn't help feeling heroic. At the same time, Sanju's phaseless tribulation finger had already approached Chu Han. The golden light is shining, and the Buddha's spirit is in full bloom. Chu Han's dark eyes were quickly filled with gold. Wind spirit wings. He didn't dare to be careless, spread out the elf wings and retreated a distance of more than 10 meters. The extremely high-speed blessing allowed him to avoid this sharp blow. Boom. Boom. The golden light exploded immediately, violently destroying the floor and burrowing into the ground. Debris flew around the arena, causing bursts of smoke and dust. The battle arena has a self-healing function. The damage caused by the previous two groups has been completely restored, but now it has become devastated again. Seeing this situation, Chu Han, who was on the referee's seat beside him, couldn't help but click his tongue. If the degree of damage exceeds the scope of self-repairability, it will have to be repaired manually at that time. That's a lot of money. However, Sanju, whose fighting spirit surged, would not consider these things. After missing a hit, he flipped to the ground in midair with a bloodthirsty arc at the corner of his mouth. Think this is the end? Duola Yaji. Sanju activated his skills again, and the golden light that had been drilled into the ground shone again, and then broke out of the ground. Boom. Boom. Dozens of golden lights suddenly bloomed, like a golden holy lotus in full bloom. There was another exclamation from the audience. Seeing that Chu Han was at a disadvantage, Juniper and Ni Li broke into a cold sweat. Elder Ni Chen also had an unnatural expression on his face, almost losing confidence in this battle. The strength shown by Sanju is indeed much higher than that of his peers. It is no exaggeration to say that he is the strongest player this year. How to win? Ni Chen couldn't help but sigh in his heart. But at this time, Chu Han, who was standing in the center of the lotus, didn't think so much. Although Sanju's skills are strong, he has already sensed the danger in the ground by relying on the Bai Zi heart. When the golden light breaks through the ground, he casts the ice-type forbidden spell in time. Dictatorship field. The ice world unfolded, turning the surface of the arena into a world of ice, and Chu Han also sealed himself in the ice coffin, perfectly avoiding all damage. The golden light pierced through the ice layer, although it shattered some, but there was no crack in Chu Han's body. Damn it! Chu Han doesn't seem to have lost any blood on this thing? Is it an invincible skill? This is too overbearing. I thought Sanju could end the game with this light lotus move. Are you kidding? This is the #1 seed of the spiritual cult church. I really think Chu Han is a soft persimmon. But he's just a rank 6 mage. It doesn't make sense to be able to unleash such a wide range of invincible skills. No matter how powerful his skills are, it's useless. That monk Sanju is already at level 8 and still has a hidden profession. I don't think Chu Han has any chance of winning. Yes, although this invincible skill is abnormal, once the duration expires, Sanju can still defeat him. You're right. Anyway, all my wealth is staked on Sanju. I'll help you and kill Chu Han. The audience was very lively. When Ni Chen saw Chu Han's performance, the expression on his face changed slightly, and he seemed to have a little more expectation. The collision of two talented young men made everyone's eyes focus on them. Except Chu Han. The arena was damaged like this, making him want to cry without tears, and he was silently calculating the cost of repairs in his heart. He just hoped that the two of them would fight more gently, otherwise the damage would be too serious and the budget would be exceeded. On the stage, Sanju was slightly surprised and looked at Chu Han in the ice world. It's interesting. I use ice to protect myself and avoid my light skills. It's very creative. However, how should you respond to this next move? The supreme divine art of Dingzu to conquer demons, break. Along with a long roar, Sanju pushed out with both palms. Immediately afterwards, 108 beads appeared and flew quickly in the direction he pushed them out. The beads formed a string in midair, hovering around Chu Han's ice coffin, and then gradually moved closer inward while rotating. Soon, 108 beads gathered together and condensed into a bright golden ball. Boom! As if being induced, the ground began to shake violently. The golden light that was shot into the ground before condensed into a huge golden ball like those Buddhist beads, and quickly cracked the ground and emerged from the ground. The two huge golden balls moved closer to each other, sandwiching Chu Han, who was sealed in the ice coffin. The vast and majestic forces tear each other apart, almost breaking the space. Amid Chu Han's wails, the entire arena had become unrecognizable and turned into ruins. Soon enough, the two huge golden balls began to collide together in just a split second. Energy continued to pour out, and time and space seemed to begin to become distorted. If it weren't for the protective barrier surrounding the arena, the audience at the scene would probably not be spared. Countless cameras have been pointed at the stage. At this moment, no detail is allowed to be missed. Heaven-destroying skills, cruel and violent killing methods, this is his F***king art. When the Buddha is angry, all gods and ghosts will be destroyed. Everyone's eyes widened, anticipating how Chu Han's ice coffin would be ruthlessly crushed, and then he would be brutally killed. No one wants to miss this scene. People didn't have any objections to Chu Han himself, but the strength shown by Sanju was so shocking that they instantly became fans and stood firm. Boom. The light balls finally collided together, like two planets colliding with each other, producing destructive energy fluctuations. Boom. Space oscillates. The Xuanzi Group arena was completely scrapped, with no trace of integrity left, and only a lone protective barrier standing there. At the same time, Sanju on the stage was also frightened when he saw Chu Han's figure attacking him. Wait a minute. Chu Han is not out, he is still on the stage. An incredulous expression froze on his face, and Sanju was in a daze for a moment. It must have come out, his ice coffin can't bear it at all. He never dreamed that the blow just now did not defeat Chu Han. The smoke caused by the energy explosion dissipated, and many people clearly saw that Chu Han was not defeated, but was still fighting with Sanju on the stage. Admiring the wonderful expression on Sanju's face, Chu Han couldn't help but smile. What the F***K? I have to say that Monk Sanju already looks like a champion. As long as the two teammates don't get in trouble, Phoenix Pavilion will win this year. And Chu Han, who spread his wind spirit wings, arrived in an instant. It's not unfair to lose to Sanju. He should have been teleported by now, right? 3, 2, 1, die. The corners of his mouth curved up, and a terrifying sound came out from between his teeth. He took advantage of Sanju's dumbfounded moment and grabbed him by the throat. Oh, Chu Han is actually quite strong, but it's a pity that he encountered such a perverted opponent at the beginning. He didn't seem to even lose a drop of blood. The pleasure of killing prey is indeed quite satisfying. Damn, he's so damn handsome. Is this the charm of a hidden profession? Chapter 124. We are here to apologize to Chu Han. 1. Ni Chen and 3 other elders, including Ni Li and Jun Jun, all jumped up from their seats. Their first reaction to this sudden turn was to be stunned. It wasn't until after repeated confirmations that Monk Sanju was teleported under the ring that his happy expression slowly emerged. When Ni, Li, Juniper and the two high-fived wildly, and then hugged each other tightly, grinning almost to the back of their heads. Even Ni Chen, who had always been calm, couldn't control the expression on his face. After laughing wildly for a while, he sat back down, completely immersed in the sudden joy of victory. Just a few seconds ago, he had lowered his head in despair, not daring to look at the situation on the stage. But after hearing the shouts of the people next to him, he looked again and found that Chu Han was the only one left on the stage. Monk Sanju was teleported under the ring. This means that Chu Han won. How could this possibly be happening? He was happy, but he couldn't accept it until now. He really couldn't imagine how Chu Han achieved such a shocking reversal. Just now, Chu Han sealed himself in the ice coffin, and then Sanju made a shocking blow. The process seemed long, but in fact it only took more than 10 seconds. What did Chu Han do in this short period of time? Ni Chen had no way of knowing. However, he now seems to be beginning to understand why Elder Shen and the president valued Chu Han so highly. Chu Han truly deserves this #1 seed. There is indeed an insurmountable gap between his grandson Ni Li and Chu Han. The winner has been decided. Spiritual cultivator Chu Han wins. The battle between Sholing Church and Phoenix Pavilion is over, each scored 3 points. With Ji Yu Chongshan's gritted teeth announcement, the battle came to an end. Chu Han is awesome. The Spiritual Cultivation Church is awesome. Awesome. I knew you could do it, haha. Fortunately I bought Chu Han, so I won. I knew that the Sholing Church would not disappoint anyone. Brother Chu Han will always be a god. Everyone cheered. Although the two guilds were only tied, judging from the effects on the scene, it was as if the Spiritual Cult Church had crushed the other party. Chu Han stood in the ruins, feeling the cheers of the crowd. At this time, he looked slightly embarrassed, as if he had become the center of the world, being looked up to and worshipped by the world. To be honest, this feeling is really good, but he was a little unhappy at this time. Thinking back to the battle just now, Chu Han released the Dictatorship Domain and Whisper of Reincarnation at the same time. This classic combo is invincible in single combat, and Chu Han has also used it to kill many powerful bosses. But it was different just now. Chu Han clearly remembered that after he came out of the ice coffin, the Whisper of Reincarnation was still 3 seconds away. You know, the invincibility time in the dictatorship field is 30 seconds. Calculated this way, I had only been in the ice coffin for about 17 seconds. Although the 2 light balls did not cause any harm to him, they were able to break through the ice coffin. This made Chu Han feel a sense of crisis in his heart. He always thought that among his age group, relying on the forbidden curse, he was already invincible. Except for those old guys who have lived half their lives, he has no opponents at all. But now it seems that there are far more perverts in this world than I imagined, and they are much stronger. A genius like Sanju will never be the last one he encounters. Still too optimistic. Before Chu Han could think about it, Ni Li and Junsong rushed onto the ring amidst bursts of cheers, lifted their great hero high into the air, and threw them into the air. Chu Han is 1.78 meters tall, which is about 130 to 40 pounds. Juniper's tendons, although not very effective in actual combat, are of great use at this time. Okay, fainted. Chu Han was thrown and picked up by them and played around like a little chicken. He felt like the world was spinning and he hurriedly said, begging for mercy. Haha, Chu Han, you are so awesome, I love you so much. But Juniper became more playful. Not only did he not stop, but he threw even more vigorously. Seeing Chu Han being ravaged by Juniper in various postures, Ni Li, who had stopped earlier, was also a little worried. Hey, Juniper, put him down quickly, it's almost done, be more rational. Sensible. How do you make me rational? Juniper blushed with excitement, and his movements became more and more exaggerated. Didn't you see how handsome Chu Han was just now? Haha, I love him to death. Under the arena, the elder Ni Chen looked at the three young men and couldn't help smiling, enjoying the hard-won victory. Laughing and laughing, he suddenly sighed again. To be honest, before today, he would never have imagined that he would feel so grateful for defeating the Phoenix Pavilion. If facing the Phoenix Pavilion is like facing a formidable enemy, then how to face stronger opponents after being promoted? The pressure was on his mind again, and Ni Chen couldn't laugh anymore. Even when he saw Qi Tianyang leaving in disgrace from the corner of his eye, he was not in the mood to chase after him and avenge his previous ridicule. The battle is over, please leave immediately for irrelevant personnel. At this time, a voice of impatience mixed with heartache came. After checking the damage of the ring with a dark face, Ji Yu Chongshan looked up and saw Chu Han and the others were still playing high, so he threw the three of them down angrily. The battle between Chu Han and Sanju just now, although it was full of excitement, could bring a lot of benefits to their organizers. But Ji Yu Chongshan couldn't be happy at all. After all, those profits are from the publicity department, so what does it have to do with him, Ji Yu Chongshan? Those grandchildren can make a lot of money, but they still have to clean up the mess in front of them. The more Ji Yu Chongshan thought about it, the more angry he became, especially this time the Xuanzi Group's arena was severely damaged, and the repair cost would probably exceed the budget for this competition. It is very difficult to apply for additional fees, if not, you have to spend money to repair the arena first. Resisting the urge to gnash his back molars, Ji Yu Chongshan reported the scene to the logistics department, and urged them to come to repair it quickly so as not to delay the progress of the game. On the other side, Chu Han and others also returned to their residence. On the first day's schedule, their spiritual practice church only had this one game, and the rest of it was just pecking at each other, which was not worth watching, so they simply came back early. Tomorrow they have 2 games, resting early to recharge their batteries is more important than anything else. Boom boom boom. As soon as the group entered the door, there was a knock on the door immediately behind them. Ni Li muttered suspiciously, then turned back and opened the door. Who are you looking for? Looking at the stranger at the door, Ni Li frowned. These few people seemed to have never met before, and they didn't know what they were doing here to knock on the door. Wrong. Suddenly, Ni Li suddenly noticed that this group of people looked familiar. Soon, he remembered that these were the knights who troubled Chu Han in the banquet hall before. Men of the royal knights. Recognizing these people, Ni Li suddenly became hostile. What do you want to do? Do not misunderstand. At this time, the faces of the 3 of them were complicated, and they seemed to have a lot to say. Hearing this, several people outside the door glanced at each other. Is it convenient? There is something we want to talk to you about. There were a total of 6 people standing at the entrance of the suite, 3 of whom Chu Han had met before were the younger brothers who followed Hu Yuan in the banquet hall at that time, and they were also contestants participating in this year's Zhenwu Grand Ceremony. In the end, it was the youngest boy who said, Hu Yuan can't come anymore, he was killed. Thinking of this in his heart, Chu Han moved his eyes, but found that Hu Yuan was not there. Since you came to apologize, why didn't Hu Yuan come with you? Isn't it sincere? We have no malicious intentions. May I ask if Chu Han is there? We are here to apologize to him. On the other side, stood 2 tall women, both looking at themselves with scrutiny. Ni Li stepped forward vigilantly. If you have anything to say, just say it here. Chu Han held Ni Li back, signaling him not to be too nervous. Afterwards, he looked at the people outside the door. I just heard from you that you came to apologize on purpose? Seeing Chu Han appear, none of the 5 people spoke, but the youngest boy who was the shortest and youngest spoke first. Hearing the movement, Chu Han also walked back. Could it be that these people came here to take revenge because of what happened last time? This is Chu Han. He first introduced to the 2 women behind him, and then said to Chu Han. A young boy who looked about 14 or 15 years old stood up and said with a polite smile. He was ready to yell at any time, after all his grandfather was in the inner room, and Ni Li still had a lot of confidence. Chapter 125 Songfeng Tong, the 9th team, killed? Chu Han blurted out, frowning slightly. Although he didn't like Hu Yuan, he was, after all, a leader of the top guild of the royal knights. In other words, his status is the same as that of Chu Shi back then. What's more, Hu Yuan once led the team to win the championship of Zhenwu Grand Ceremony. It is indeed a bit surprising that such a person of considerable status died in Guling Mountain. Who is so ruthless, dared to openly provoke the royal knights? Could it be? Chu Han suddenly remembered the divination that Yao Shengyu had done. Could Hu Yuan's death be secretly related to his sister's disappearance? Thoughts were racing through his mind. Chu Han raised his head to look at the people outside the door, and suddenly found that they were all looking at him like a torch, as if trying to read something from the change in his expression. Chu Han suddenly understood. The real purpose of these people here is not to apologize, but to investigate themselves. Hu Yuan's death has nothing to do with me. You don't need to waste time on me, Chu Han said lightly. I believe this. The young man outside the door kept smiling, but you were suspected after all, so let's chat a little bit. Otherwise, I'm afraid those old guys in the guild will come to trouble you next. When Ni Li heard this, he immediately stared. Are you threatening us? Let me tell you, don't think that our spiritual cultivation church will be afraid of your royal knights. Chu Han hurriedly pulled him back, feeling a little headache, wondering if this kid was infected by Juniper. Why is his temper so violent? It's okay, I'll go out with them, don't worry, nothing will happen. After appeasing Ni Li, Chu Han followed the 6-person team to another floor. As members of the Royal Knights, they are naturally qualified to live in this luxury restaurant. Entering a suite with similar specifications, Chu Han unceremoniously sat on the sofa. Everyone else also sat down. Looking at the young man with the head faintly, Chu Han always felt a little familiar. Out of curiosity, he ignored the politeness and directly used the heart of Bai Zi to probe the boy's information. Open black lens bracket Zhang Yi close black lens bracket, occupation, Twilight Judge, turn 8 Knight. Open black lens bracket level, LV.459 close black lens bracket Zhang Yi. After silently saying the name several times in his heart, Chu Han suddenly remembered that he had seen this person before. That was when he first arrived in Shanghai City. This guy dressed as a beggar sold himself a skill book at the entrance of the exchange. He cheated himself 100 million. Although Chu Han didn't have that deep impression of this person, he still remembered that 100 million clearly. Zhang Yi. Is he actually a member of the Royal Knights? It seems that it was not a coincidence that he sold the skill book to himself at that time, including looking for him today, probably not just to investigate the cause of Hu Yuan's death. Zhang Yi, who was sitting across from him, didn't notice Chu Han's inner activities. His immature face and his harmless appearance made it easy for people to let go of their guard. He handed over a cup of tea, and then said, I'm sorry to waste your time, but you also know that you are very suspicious of Hu Yuan's death, so it is better to speak clearly, and it will save you go to a lot of trouble. So, next, I want to hear from you, how to clear myself of suspicion. Chu Han crossed his legs and leaned on the sofa with his arms crossed. If he encounters this kind of wrong thing in normal times, he will not even bother. The reason why he can stay here patiently now is that they belong to the Royal Knights and are inextricably linked with Chu Shi. When did Hu Yuan die? Chu Han asked after a moment of silence. Zhang Yi replied without thinking. Last night, shortly after the conflict with you in the banquet hall, he died in a dense forest halfway up the mountain. Hearing this, Chu Han sneered, even if I wanted to kill him, I wouldn't be so stupid as to do it right after the conflict with him. Isn't that too obvious? Zhang Yi shrugged noncommittally after hearing this. Maybe you just did the opposite? Chu Han couldn't help frowning, a little annoyed. Although that guy Hu Yuan is annoying, he's not worthy of me trying to kill him secretly. At that time in the banquet hall, he took the initiative to provoke me. If he wanted to kill me, I could do it at that time. Why wait until the matter is over before making small moves? At the end of the day, that guy Hu Yuan can't even catch a single move under my command. I haven't paid him much attention at all. Also, my patience is very limited. You'd better stop at it. Hearing Chu Han's threatening words, Zhang Yi didn't say anything, but turned to look at the two girls. What do you think? The two girls looked at each other silently, then shook their heads. I'm afraid these words won't convince the old guys at home. Zhang Yi nodded. Well, indeed, but one thing he said is quite right. That guy Hu Yuan is really annoying. After finishing speaking, he blinked at Chu Han. I'm annoying him too. Chu Han was taken aback, and before he could figure out what he meant, he heard Zhang Yi say to the other three. You have also heard that your Captain Hu is not even as good as a fart in Chu Han's eyes. This matter has nothing to do with him. The three of them were taken aback when they heard the words, and waved their hands again and again. No, 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 how can you listen to his one-sided words? This is too hasty. That's right, this matter must have something to do with Chu Han. The interrogation must continue. That's right, the murderer must be him. We can't let him go so easily. After hearing what the three of them said, Zhang Yi's face darkened. Okay, since the three of you are so thoughtful, then you can continue to interrogate Chu Han. But the ugly words are up front. If people get angry and start fighting, don't blame us for standing idly by. Also, please write an application report to the three of you, and replace the investigators of the Hu Yuan incident with you. I'm just happy to be free. The three of them were stunned speechless. Although Zhang Yi was much younger than them, neither his contribution and status in the guild on weekdays nor the special status given to him at this time were not something they could afford. At this time, Chu Han was watching from the sidelines, and also found some clues. Judging from where they sat when they entered the door, the 6 people were faintly divided into 2 camps. It can be seen from this that the faction division within the Royal Knights should be quite serious. Although the 3 of them were a little annoyed, due to Zhang Yi's lustful power and the fact that they didn't dare to really provoke Chu Han, they could only shut up with hatred and obey Zhang Yi's arrangement. Okay, since you have no objections, let's leave first, Zhang Yi continued. Next, we're going to have a good chat with the old captain's younger brother. The old captain's brother. Chu Han's pupils trembled slightly. Could it be? Sure enough, after the 3 left, Zhang Yi smiled and said to Chu Han, okay, let me introduce again, my name is Zhang Yi. Then, he pointed to the other 2, they're Su Ying and Wu Qinxin. We used to belong to the 9th squad of the Songfeng Hall of the Royal Knights. At that time, our captain was called Chu Shi.